Dog's behind me.
Okay.
Scoot over a little bit.
You got it. There you go. Honey.
There we go. Hey, everyone. Good morning. I'm Kaye, Kittrell. I haven't been on a live in about 10 months. We did do a thing 9 months ago, co-creating with heaven, a long, hours-long workshop. But that was really the brainchild of a friend of mine, Devonese. And so I was just participating in that. So I wanted to just take a moment. I am in Nampa. Did you say it's the fastest growing city in Idaho or something? Nampa, Idaho. And there are a bunch of towns and cities around Boise. So it's not in Boise, but you fly into Boise. And then we have our friend Lou in, she's in Caldwell, I think.
Yes.
And then Teresa is in Nampa, and my son is in Meridian. And so, and then my other friends are in Eagle, but they're in California for the holidays. So I'm staying with Teresa. It's more convenient for me to stay here and seeing my son, daughter-in-law, and granddaughter, my first grandchild, seeing them every day. So it's just been great. So I've got a couple more days. I just wanted to do a little introduction just in case you haven't seen my channel in a while. And I, for the last at least 3-4 months, I've really been focused on my mother and her declining health and situation. And she did pass away on November the 30th. And we buried her on December the 7th. And then 10 days later, I had to put down my 20-year-old cat. So it's been very involved with all. I have been very involved with all of that. And so that's why I haven't had as many videos. That's why my channel is like, languishing. And so I'm trying to get back in gear. And so here I am. And Teresa had the great idea because, well, of course I agree. So many people are interested in so many kinds of food preservation, medicinal plants, balms, salves, tinctures, sourdough, doing things yourself, making things yourself. And what better while I'm here is for us to do an impromptu interview and live stream. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring her in, but first I wanted to thank everyone. This is very important for me to say that I want to thank everyone for their prayers because so many people have been praying for me and my family. And I really appreciate it. God bless you. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Teresa in and we're going to have a little conversation. I won't be able to look at the chat window. So hold your questions until we get through the beginning. Kind of want to set the stage for how she knows about all of these things. I mean, I'm just learning, but she knows so much more. So we'll do a little interview and then I will turn my focus to the chat window and feed questions to Teresa, who hopefully can answer all of your questions. So welcome to my channel. I'm Kaye. I'm the late bloomer. I started gardening about 11 years ago. So that's why I call myself a late bloomer. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to this live stream. Share with a friend. And here is my friend Teresa. There she is. Move this back a little. And I think everybody can see. Can you see okay?
I can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And just let me just introduce very briefly our co-stars. This is
Snickers.
That's Snickers. And this is
Coco. She's right there.
She's up. Oh,
she's standing up. She's standing up at attention. And Annabella's probably.
So if you see some little ears going behind us, it's those two little munchkins. Okay. So Marie at Huntington Township says, hi, Teresa.
Hello.
And Gina is here. Gina will be our moderator. Excuse me, I have to sneeze.
Sneeze.
That was a dainty little sneeze. Boy, my sneezes are usually much more violent.
It's because you've been taking fire cider the whole time you've been here.
Oh, yes. Did I put that on the list?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
we're gonna be talking about so many things. So make sure you have a pen and paper. Obviously, we can't go into great detail because we're going to cover a lot of ground today. But first of all, I wanted to introduce, for the people who don't know you, uh, Teresa does have a YouTube channel. It's The Urban Homesteader, but it's at Urban Homesteader 101. Make a note of that. I've also got it in the pinned comments, so you can write it down from there. She's very active on TikTok as well.
Yes.
And that's kind of where you got your chumps to start sharing and everything, was on TikTok, right?
Yeah. Some of the things with YouTube, you have to have so many people follow you before you can get into their algorithm. So nobody
Right.
sees very much for me because I'm way down here.
Mm-hmm.
With TikTok, you can get into a certain algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
And in my case, I'm on sourdough TikTok. So I have every person who does sourdough probably trying to follow me. I have almost 3,000 followers there, and I've only been doing it for a couple of months.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is on
TikTok.
You mean just on your channel?
Just on my channel. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you cover a lot of other topics.
Oh, yes. I do. I sneak them in, but the sourdough community.
I just want to remark that every time you look up, you're going to get a big flash on the glasses. So, if you can just be careful and keep your eye line,
Okay.
right here or lower.
Okay.
Because
Then I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to listen to the questions and look.
Well, you can look at me, but just keep yeah.
You got it.
So I just didn't want people to get,
Blinded.
distracted. No, distracted. So let's start at the beginning, though.
Okay.
How did you get involved in all of the prepping and all of it? Where did the germ actually?
It's probably been close to almost 10 years for canning. I started canning just as, the jelly, the jams, as something to do, during my spare time, because I was harvesting from people or giving gifts from people of fruits and things like that. So it became really fun to just go get, 10 things of, blackberries or raspberries and then make jam, and the funny thing about jam is you can make one batch and you have jam for 2 or 3 years. So then I had to, just go on to other things. And so
Mhm.
when
And back up, you were in San Diego.
I was in San Diego, that is correct.
Right.
So when we got extremely shut down in San Diego, I went into this mode of what all am I going to do, even though they considered my job that I do essential. I was required to drive into an office that was completely empty. Nobody was there. Nothing was going on. And I was required to sit in an office for 8 hours doing basically nothing. So I kind of was able to, watch YouTube, get a few more people who were doing different things. And I started doing the canning, more foods, getting into more of the pressure foods rather than water bath foods. And I just started preserving. And then, of course, we all know when COVID hit California, they were brutal. You couldn't go out without a mask. You couldn't walk out of your door to get your mail without being accosted from somebody who would be like, "You don't have your mask on." So we just kind of forced ourselves into staying into the house. I went out, my husband didn't, and I just started looking at everything. Like if the Ukraine was having a problem, I found out what they supplied us with, and then I started harvesting and preserving, freeze drying, and doing all that.
But most people start with canning,
Yeah.
with water bath.
Yeah.
And you very quickly jumped into pressure canning.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm like, water bath is like, okay, someone wants a jam. Christmas is coming up. Christmas jam. Okay, I'm going to make that. But I pressure can almost everything.
And do you think you had more courage to do all these things because you're in all of these Facebook groups?
Oh yeah, I'm a Facebook junkie. If I have a hankering, I find a group. I might find one or two, and then I join that group, and then I start watching. Then I, of course, search YouTube, and then that gives me the people who are doing it, and then I'll watch 10 people because everybody does it different, and then I come up with my own style using as much of the information that I've been given.
Right, right. But then how many Facebook pages did you start yourself?
Oh gosh,
Groups, I guess.
Groups, I probably have Maybe 15 groups that I run myself on Facebook with all different, projects. So like,
Why don't you name them off?
oh God, I
In
couldn't.
case.
I couldn't. I mean,
Okay.
I would have to. I'd have to look every
Well,
one of them, and there's a list.
Give us a short
Well, I
list.
have. I
Give us
have.
5.
Okay, I have a freeze dried group. That's all for pet treats because everybody else does the freeze dried candy. I have the freeze dried pet group, so everybody knows how to go in and make treats for their pets. Um, I did run another pet group one, but it was for a company, and then I turned that over to them. That had 20K followers. Um, I have a pantry queen one that's local to the people in Idaho that are in my area for how to find the pantry so that nobody goes hungry. And then I have some from my prior life, scrapbooking ones and different things of other interest. I'm involved in or have joined black garlic, sourdough, and probably even the rebel canning because I'm kind of a rebel. So yeah, a big rebel.
And you're also still working. Working
Yes.
part-time, right?
Yeah, I'm very part-time. I've been an escrow officer since 2002, and I have one client that's been with me since probably 2002, and he still uses me faithfully, and he begs me never to quit. So I just do his loans and stuff like that. So I still work from home. I get to do it remote now.
And
so that's a blessing.
She has 2 grown daughters, 2 granddaughters.
Correct.
And
actually 2 granddaughters and 1 grandson.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Jason's 18. So,
right.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I knew that.
He's in California still. We're hoping to move him here.
Right. So how did you decide to come to Idaho? It's because your daughter.
It's because my daughter and son started seeing the way things were going in California. And he said, this isn't where I want to raise my children. I want my children to be a little more freer. Mask, his little 2-year-old, before that, I mean, as a baby, they put a mask on a baby, made them wear masks. And we believe that her masking makes her not understand facial gestures to this day. She looks at you and she doesn't know if you're mad or happy or sad because she wore a mask all the way up in those developmental first years of knowing what happens. And so now here, we don't even have to wear a mask. I mean, as soon as I hit Idaho, I have not had to wear a mask. I think I burned them all. And we don't own a mask. In fact, even when you go into a hospital here, you don't have to wear a mask. They say optional. Yes, there are the people that still wear the mask, but we're not one of them.
But your husband's retired. So,
yeah, he's retired.
So even though he spent 67 years in California or San Diego, he's very happy here in Idaho.
Oh, we've acclimated very well. Well,
I can tell just from when I came in, if you all remember, I came to the Modern Homesteading Conference at the end of June, and I came here. She picked me up, and then we drove to Coeur d'Alene, stayed in a hotel up there, and went to the homesteading conference. And all I shared at the time were photos because I just said, you know what? I had gone to the Homesteaders of America with my camera, and I had worked so hard. I was on my feet all day trying to interview everybody I could find, and I made all these videos when I got home, and hardly anybody watched them, and I didn't make any money. I'm just going, I cannot kill myself like that anymore. And so I decided that I would go to the Modern Homesteading Conference and just enjoy myself. And so that's what we did,
we did. We had a great
saw
time.
Mary at Mary's Nest. She had gifted me my ticket. And so that was an incentive for me to go. And we had a great time.
We did. Very good time.
And the drive down, the drive back, you can go up the freeway.
Correct. Yeah. You can go 84.
Or you can come down the scenic route. What do you call that?
I just would call it the scenic route. I mean, it was just all the back roads and everything through all those smaller towns.
And we stopped every time we saw a bunch of wildflowers on the side of the road that we hadn't already gotten a picture of. we pulled over. I mean, it took a long time to get back.
We did.
And, but it was really,
it was wonderful. It was a wonderful trip. But,
and I still have not made that video. I think I'm shaking. Oh. You know what? I am.
That's okay.
Sorry, guys. I wasn't realizing I was doing that. the pictures I took, I wanted to compile into a slideshow.
Hmm.
And remember the motorcyclists we met up
Oh
on the
yeah,
top of the
they were
mountain?
great. They
They
were
were from
like so
Canada.
friendly. Yeah,
Yeah,
from
they were from
Canada.
Canada. And golly, those women were on the biggest Harleys.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, they
Gee
were,
whiz.
and they were so nice. They were so
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
I think one of them posed for pictures for you by their motorcycle.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
have the pictures. I have
Yeah.
a couple of video clips. I just haven't, taken the time to edit that.
Do a slideshow. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, back to so you were in San Diego a long
Mhm.
time, and you guys just your daughter came here first with husband and children.
And we were like here 3 months later. I mean, they were here, they landed. I came to visit. I came back home, told my husband we're moving. He says, okay. We came back for a weekend, bought our house, or the house we're in now, and then went back home and sold our house. And we had a 90-day escrow. So from the time never planning to move to now, we had to clear out anything and everything that we owned, which we didn't do a very good job. We still brought a lot of it with us, unfortunately. And then we just landed here, and we, put in
hit the ground running.
Hit the ground running. Put in.
This was a year after I left, right?
I think it's a year after you left. Yeah.
21. You came in 21.
Yes, correct.
I came in 20.
Yeah,
I made my move in 20. I was in my house December 1st.
I think a couple days ago was our. We physically moved in December, but we arrived here like 2 weeks before we actually came in.
So you were determined. You can't. This is an HOA.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But she has a very large kind of back and side yard. So she has a garden and all of that. I keep coming when it's the wrong season to see all the stuff growing. But I was going to say, when I was here in June, it seems like you have canned 1,000 more jars since I was here. I mean, there's so much stuff that she just
I usually don't stop. Well, the thing with the canning is you have to can it when you have it. And so a lot of times when I go and pick up, and I'm a little off track here, but just to give you how I get so much of a certain thing is I pick up for seniors at pantries. And so when I come to their house and I offer them 10 pounds of chicken, they're like, I don't want that. So I keep it for me. And so I might end up with like 60 pounds of chicken, and then I come home and can it. So I must have over 100, 150 canned chicken legs and thighs. And then, I make soups out of the vegetables. I make, like, I don't want to call it, but like things you can put into like a pie. So like I'll have apples and fruit that's given to me, or stuff that I've grown. And I just make stuff. I make butternut squash soup, and I can that. And then I've actually learned that I can freeze dry it. So now I'm freeze drying it. And
so you've already got your soup into a powder, and all you have to do is rehydrate it.
Just rehydrate it and make, so you can have one can of, or one bowl of soup, and then you don't have that waste.
Now the freeze dryers are very expensive. Did you buy your first one, or all of them?
I bought all of them.
Okay. How many do you have? 3?
I have 3 now.
Okay.
And I started out with one in San Diego, which we of course securely packed and brought with us.
Mm-hmm.
And then I acquired, since I was using the first one so much, my husband went out and bought me the large one. And then I now have a pharmaceutical one, which is all stainless steel, and it holds 7 trays. And I do all my herbs in that one.
Okay.
So
but back to my other question, which you were in the process of answering, is a lot of the fact that you just stay busy all the time is because you have to do it when you have it.
Correct.
And so that's why you're motivated to get all this stuff into the freeze dryer or whatever.
The freeze dryer, the canner, or dehydrator, whatever one suits that particular produce or product.
Right.
The best. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so what would you say at this point? You have so much, because your basic motivation is prepping for
in case.
Prepping for in case.
Yeah.
And so now that you have so much stored, do you feel like you can just, I'm not going to go to a pantry for a month, or I'm not going to work on any, it's winter.
Yeah.
Give myself a break, write a book.
I have dyslexia. The book would be very backwards.
Okay.
All
right.
Well,
Mind.
no, I'm teasing. Like, well, for me, I guess my thing is if you stop preparing when you have something hit, like, let's say I got really sick and my husband for a month had to fend for himself. Well, he's got a month. He never has to leave the house. He could care for me. And, there would be food there that he could just dump in a bowl and heat up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of some of the main stuff. But I have a large family here. So if something happened, none of them are preppers. They call me the crazy lady. They'll come to my house. But I've prepared food for every one of my family members that if something were to happen, especially in the dead of winter, they could last through the winter with just either freeze-dried food or canned food.
And
they have them at their house.
And the first thing you did when you came here was you put in a wood
Oh,
stove.
yeah. Most homes around here, if they're newly built, they have a crazy fireplace, just the one that runs off of the piped-in fuel. But we put in a wood-burning stove, and we put it in our only area we had, which was in our dining room scenario. And so it can burn wood, heat the house, and then it can also I can cook on top of it if I needed to. I could take a cast iron on the top. There's a little.
Oh yeah.
So a little burner thing. So if I had to, I can heat up water and then use my freeze dried food, or I can dump canned food in a pan or whatever, and it could heat that up. So we wouldn't be cold and we wouldn't be hungry. Those were the motivation for putting that in there. But we also, and I don't think I've showed you this, but on the side of the house, if our water was contaminated, I have 1,000-gallon water tank, and I'm only on 1/3 of an acre. I have 1,000-gallon water tank that is filled with water.
How does that keep from freezing?
It's insulated pretty much. I mean, it's thicker, and it's above it, and we have the faucet part covered, so it wouldn't freeze. And if it did, we would probably have to heat it up. I mean, we'd have to heat up just the faucet part. I think it's too much or too big to not freeze.
I see.
So, and then we also have a generator that we can hook up to the house, and we do have the propane. We use a propane generator. We have a 100-pound propane tank, but we're on everything city for the house. So this is all separate from the house. So if any of that was lost to us, we have that all prepped at the side of the house to last us at least hopefully through a winter, or until whatever, we have to start doing to change the other. And then we have like 2 cords of wood stacked up in our backyard. No one around here has that. None of my neighbors are all relying upon whatever's going to be around them. So they'll probably come to my house.
Everybody thinks that everything's going to be here because it has been their whole life. But we don't know what's going to happen.
No, we don't.
We've never been in a situation like this before. Especially and this was true of all of last year and the year before.
Yeah.
Really, we were at the brink, it seems like, for so long.
Well,
and now we have drones.
Yeah. Well, the interesting part about like the change in our future administration, did I relax after this last voting? Oh, absolutely. I took a big sigh of relief because I was always just a little bit on that edge of what if. But I will never let that have me be never doing anything. I'll always be prepping something,
Well, you have by nature, you have not an anxiety, but
it's ADHD. I have adult ADHD.
Well, I didn't want to say that.
Oh, that's fine with me. I'm open about it. I have adult ADHD, so my brain.
She's going.
24/7.
We got up yesterday before 5, right? And then we went to pantries and my son and daughter-in-law are not prepping and thinking about anything, and they've got about just a very little bit of food, and I just thought, well, as long as we're here, let's just
get them
get
some
a
food.
Supply. And you can always get potatoes in Idaho.
That's right. Never without potatoes.
And then we came back by another pantry. The pantry was closed, but outside they had those big what do you call
Oh,
those things?
yeah,
Bins?
bins. They had onions, so they had like 7, 8 bins of just pure onions
Like
because.
tons, and they're just sitting out front. Anybody can pull up and just fill up a bag of onions.
Oh yeah, and the nice thing about Idaho is I'm also in a gleaning group. So if
A
something,
what group?
a gleaning,
Gleaning.
that means that if someone says, "Hey, we just gleaned this field," you can
Mm.
now come and take what's left over, and that's how you can get onions. And to give you an example of just how crazy I was last year for the onions is, you know, those Costco black and yellow tubs that are pretty good size. They put them on sale. I collected 4 filled with onions, brought them home, dehydrated my heart out,
Oh,
made
no.
myself. I must have gallons of onion powder, gallons of onions freeze dried, and I still went this year and got only 1 of the yellow tubs or the black and yellow lid tubs.
Well, let me ask you
Yeah.
on that, because I dehydrated a bunch of onions,
Mhm.
not last, I think it was the year before last.
Yeah.
They're still sitting there in an oxygen absorber in a gallon. I have
Yeah.
a gallon full of, and they were like
Yeah,
pieces.
good sizes. Yeah,
They weren't ground up.
that's okay.
But are they? I
Oh,
tried.
they'll be fine. Don't ever ground them till you're ready to use them. And the reason is because the
The flavor.
well, the flavor is one, but the other thing is that they put a chemical in them to keep them separated. So when you grind that up, it's going to compact down, and you're going to have to scrape it out with like a fork because it'll.
Yeah.
Because you're not putting in
Anti-caking.
you're not putting in your anti-caking.
Yeah, I don't want to put anything in it.
No, that's the same with me. I don't want anything in mine, so I keep mine either in Mylar bags because I do a lot of freeze drying. I have a lot of Mylar bags.
But I did grind up my cayenne peppers.
That's fine. My cayenne peppers are ground, and I have some that are
Okay.
still whole. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem like onion would be.
No, no. I
Okay.
don't believe that's that. I mean, it could, but you could still scrape that out.
And I've got an oxygen absorber in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's actually good to keep it preserved from anything invading it, so to speak.
Mhm.
Whatever the air puts into it. But you never do that with sugar or salt, though.
Well, do you think between your ADHD,
Yeah.
adult ADHD,
Yeah.
and your need to help people, because a
Mhm.
lot of what you do is what's the word when you're always trying to help people?
I don't know.
Outreach.
Yeah, outreach. Yeah.
It's a lot of what, because even when I'm out and about with you, you're always trying to help people and explain things and
Yeah.
Help people along.
I sometimes overhelp. Yeah. I agree with you. Sometimes I'm a little chatty catty.
So this is what drives you to keep going.
Yeah.
And all of that.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you talk for just a minute, and then we'll start taking questions about your future plans.
Oh, yes. My lovely son-in-law decided that he lived on an acre in Middleton, and he was on a quest because they don't have as many rules in Idaho on what you can build and what you cannot build. So his neighbor that just bought the house behind him decided to build a big barn, taking away his beautiful view of the mountains. And he says, "Nope, I want a view." So he went and found 10 acres. And he's gifting his parents 2.5 acres. They're already moved from Florida. They moved from Florida just in the last 3 months. And they've already started building their house on 5 acres and the grandparents on 2.5 acres. And they're waiting to gift us, but we have to get it surveyed and so that we can be gifted the other 2.5 acres. So we will be moving to 2.5 acres because I'm only on a third of an acre now. So I can have chickens and all sorts of things, a big garden, a big medicinal garden, and everything else. So it'll be about a 2-year project before we're there, but we're planning it now, planning out our house move. So we'll be on a little family 10 acres.
Yeah, that's that's really kind of every family person's dream.
Oh yeah, well
grandparents' dream anyway. That was
well, I would say it's their dream. The kids can go over to this grandma's house. This can go to Mima's house. I mean,
it's a mutual benefit. It's
yeah.
mutual benefit to everyone, and so it just.
Well, and I know because we're also going to build a big separate from my house or the house my husband and I will be sharing a workshop, and it'll have a full-on kitchen, my freeze dryers, my dehydrators, my canning, everything that I can do.
And you know what? I just had a great idea.
Oh, what's that?
Just keep it all neat, and then you can do tours.
Oh, I plan to have classes there.
Oh, okay.
I plan to teach people.
I was thinking how you could.
Because I do have a medicinal group too but it's just private people who I teach.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was supposed to be at people's homes.
Yeah.
And so then I'll be able to just go to my little, woman cave or whatever, because it's going to be a pretty big building. And then I'll be able to do all that stuff and not have it,
That's what I want.
yeah, invading my house. Because if you saw my house is very, I don't want to use the word, cluttered in a bad way, but it's cluttered with
In a good
canned
way.
goods and freeze dried goods and all those different
It's
things.
cluttered
So
in a good way.
yeah, and you just got to get to it and use it.
Well, why don't we start? Was there anything else you wanted to share
No,
that
I'm
that
good.
I
If anybody,
did?
like you said.
I think I just wanted to very quickly share this 1 second with gosh, hush, with somebody that I forgot to tell about this. And all right, so if okay, Ruse Mountain Home is here.
The she shed, yes.
Northeast Tennessee. We have pantries, but it's limited. Yeah, when she came out to see me, we looked for all the pantries around me just so I would know, and couldn't find much.
Yeah.
It's crazy out here. I mean,
Oh.
we were there at 6.
Yeah, we got there at 6 a.m.
And the truck
truck arrived at 8.
18-wheeler arrived at 8
Mm-hmm.
and unloaded those big bins on the
pallets.
pallets.
Yeah.
And there was a lot, and just
Yeah, there's a
unreal.
lot of food, and
But
the way
you never know what it's going to be.
Yeah, you never know what it's going
Sometimes
to
you
be.
get a lot of chicken, and there was no meat yesterday. Really.
No, there was no meat. It was all dry goods, so canned goods, some breads. Usually, you get a little more protein. They try to cover all bases.
Mhm.
And the interesting part about it is we went there and we were able to pick up stuff for her son, and then obviously stuff that we brought into our home too. And then I was able to stock the pantry that I have for people who need, if someone comes along and needs something, they know to come and ask me. Even the kids that are doing canned food drives, believe it or not, come to me, and I give them back the canned goods that was donated me so they can donate it back to the pantry that they're collecting for, because the kids just want to learn. And I think it's great for kids to learn.
I mean, when I was here in June, some neighbor or person in your group dropped off how many pounds of chicken? You cut it all up, or no, it was already cut up and frozen.
Yeah, well, it was cut up in legs and thighs is usually what they give at a pantry.
And you had to further cut it up.
My husband will do that for me. He cut it. He takes
see,
the leg.
I need that.
Yeah, he takes and cuts the legs and the thighs separate so they can fit easier into a canning jar.
Oh no, I was talking about you freeze dried it. She wanted you to freeze dry it. They don't have freeze dryer, and she brought all these pounds and pounds and boxes and boxes of chicken.
Was it the chicken?
Yeah.
Oh, it was. You're talking. Oh, yes. Yeah, someone had gotten something given to her, and it was already cut up restaurant quality chicken, and then there was it was already cooked, so it was an easy put in, already cooked. We diced it up, we threw it in the freeze dryer, and she ended up with bags and bags of freeze dried restaurant quality meat, that she would just have to rehydrate and do different things with. And she had steak and chicken,
which you use for your dog treats.
This is well, the newest thing, and this is kind of interesting, that since you never know what you're going to get from a food pantry, a lot of times people will be like, I'm never going to eat that, but you have it. So what do you do with it? So in our case, that's just Snickers.
You okay?
Yeah, he's that's his way. So what you do is, since they know I have a freeze dryer, they'll contact me and they'll say, hey, Teresa, I just was given, and I kid you not, 19 containers of chicken liver raw. Who's gonna, I mean, some people love that, but not fast enough. So I freeze dry it and it becomes dog treats.
Let's see if Coco would eat one.
Oh, Coco will eat one.
Coco, you want a dog treat?
So it looks like this.
Make her come up here, so they can
so
see
it's like this. Coco, come here.
Here, hold it up here. Up here. Right there.
Right there.
Okay.
So that's literally a raw chicken liver freeze dried. Now it's not for human consumption, but I don't know if you can see here. Snickers is already trying to get it, but I
He
gotta.
can't eat a big thing like that.
Yeah, come on, Coco.
Coco's over there.
Oh, come here,
Coco,
Coco.
come on.
Come on, Coco. Come on, come on, up. Want this? Ooh,
No,
yeah.
you have to come up here. Come
Come
on,
here, come here, come here.
come on, come on, come on, Coco,
Snigger says, "Look, I'm here.
Coco,
Come on, Coco."
Coco.
Well, if you saw her, she is like trying to grab it out of her hand.
Okay, we'll
And
put it
stuff.
over there until Coco can come
Yeah.
here.
Well, when Coco decides she wants it
And
bad
so I
enough.
wanted to just point out, because I'm just reminded that Devonese is here from Ohio, and we're so happy to have you. And I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you heard it, Devonese, but I mentioned that we had
Come here.
our Co-Creating from Heaven live stream 9 months ago now, if you can believe it was 9 months ago. And Devonese, I don't know if you know the whole pantry thing, but you should get in touch with Teresa, because I know you feed a lot of people and you try to help a lot of people. So that is a great way to do that. I mean, some of the food is not bad.
Well, that's the thing is,
You know?
the food is donated from Costco and Albertsons that we have around here, Winco, and it's also donated to the Idaho Food Pantry, and they have a drive in my area once a month, but they also go to like Mountain Home, and they'll meet in different areas. So at least once a month they are meeting at a big sporting event arena, and thousands of cars show up, and they feed thousands of people. I can go to 12 pantries a month just in my area. Just if
If you wanted to.
if I wanted to. And I only go
Do
there's
you
certain
see a lot of the same faces where you
Oh
go?
yeah. Well, I even have, like I said, I have that pantry queen group that we all meet up, because see, if a family is gluten-free and I get gluten-free product, guess what? I'm giving it to the gluten-free family. I'm not gluten-free. I'm not going to, because their cost to get their food is much higher than mine. So they'll be happy to get whatever I have that's, gluten-free. And they may raise their own chickens and go, I don't want the chicken. I don't want the eggs. And so I can end up with eggs. I would never have to have chickens other than I want chickens because everybody wants them freeze dried. So the people that raise a bunch of chickens will come to me and they'll have 19 dozen eggs. I blend them all up and I throw them in my freeze dryer. And so then I split the product. So they get their amount of eggs and I get mine.
Okay, that's a great segue. So bartering.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what is your number one bartering item?
My fire cider.
Okay, so let's talk about fire cider, because I know a lot of people probably aren't making fire cider yet. I know a lot of people do, but just give them the basic directions of how to make it. And of course, you're going to research this.
Yeah, you'll have to. It'll be hard because everybody has a different blend. But the basics are apple cider vinegar. So you want the one with the mother. So that's going to be a little more expensive than just the one that doesn't have a mother in it. But the mother is key. And then you have
There's one bottle.
Yeah, that's one bottle.
She's got much bigger bottles, 5-gallon bottles.
I make 5 gallons at a time because it's my biggest, not only seller, but it's also my biggest bartering tool. So you're
not selling, you're bartering, right?
Yeah, I do sell it to clients too. Yeah,
okay.
That's why I make so much.
That's what this is, right?
That would be what this is.
She bought these beautiful. So she gave me a couple of these bottles to take home, and you got 250 of these bottles on Amazon for how much? $3?
Not Amazon. From a Facebook Marketplace. I bought them off someone who got them, and then I had to buy the lids because she only had the bottles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's very cool. It's got a thicker glass bottom. And so then you will sell this?
Yeah, I sell this, and I have a custom label that I put on it that tells the ingredients of what this one is. And if you look at the color difference,
this is
if you
more
can
reddish.
see, this one reddish is jalapeno, jalapeno. This one's with habanero. So this one's going to have a hotter heat index, which some people like, but I
think this is a perfect time to try it. Yeah. And she poured this out for me. And this is the
I want your face to show them when you drink it too.
Okay. All right.
Cheers.
So I've had this for 3 days because it's much colder here.
Mm-hmm.
It's warm during the day, or it has been, and then it just gets really cold. And so, I'm away from home and seeing different, I just
It's
thought it would
good to
be a
have your
good
immune
idea to
system
have a
boosted.
shot of this. Yeah, right. So, and trust me, it's better to just take the whole thing. Although this is a lot.
Yeah, you could drink half, Kaye. Woo. She is not doing the face she normally does, because that is one dose of kick your butt immunity booster. Now, can you imagine doing the
Woo!
habanero one?
No, and I don't care to.
Yeah, no.
This is hot enough.
Yeah.
Ooh, but I'm going to be making that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be making that, and she gave me a couple of those bottles, so I don't plan to be bartering it or selling it or anything. So I'll just have those bottles. Is that a refrigerated? A refrigerator?
No, well, it depends.
Okay.
I'm of the belief that it's got enough of the preservative apple cider vinegar that you can keep it on the counter. You don't have to put it in the refrigerator. It's going to last at least a year. I've had some that I've found, like a bottle that's been pushed aside, just as good as if I did it before. So, but for safety's sake, and do your own research, people will say anywhere from 6 months to a year if you refrigerate it longer.
And that's after it's finished.
After it's finished.
So talk about.
Yeah. So when you make it, you need to have every red onions, white onions, even the brown onions. So all 3 of the onions peeled and chopped. I do lemon, lime, and oranges, and you can even do blood oranges. So those all sliced, chopped up, because you want the most exposure. You're going to get horseradish. You're going to peel it and grate it. You're going to get ginger. You can choose to peel it or not. You're going to get turmeric. Choose to peel it or not, but it definitely needs to be chopped up. And then jalapenos in the one that she's taking. You can switch that out with habanero, but less. But you just take as many as you want, kind of, you've learned to taste. And then you take some rosemary, oregano, and thyme, a fresh sprig of it if you can, the better. And then as an added
dried
bonus,
is okay.
Dried is okay. Fresh is better if you've got it. And then you also take a I forgot what the last one was I was going to say. You put that all in like a mason jar. Half gallon would last you more than a year. If you were to do it half gallon, quart would probably easily last you a year. You mash that all down, pour your apple cider vinegar over it all. Okay, now my dogs are arguing over the treat. Oh, it's the bottle. Sorry, the bottle's down there. Can you put that somewhere so they don't overrule us here? And so then you put that all together, and you let it simmer or infuse. It's not a ferment. It just infuses. And then after 6 to 8 weeks, you strain off all the plant matter and all that stuff.
Do you need to? No, you don't do. We're not in a big jar.
Well, with my 5 gallons, I'm stirring it like once every other day or something like that. I go by, and if you think of a 5 gallon, that's like huge. That's like one of those big water jugs that you push over.
Yep.
That we used to do. They used to come in glass. Well, this is called a big bubbler, and so that's what we use, or I use, and then that lasts me a full year with bartering it and trading it off.
Bubbler, did I not hear you say you have to have a certain kind of lid?
So no, I have just a lid that I just set on top. I don't screw it down.
Okay.
I've never had any of them gas over ever.
Oh, okay.
So because you're really not fermenting.
No.
I think the acidity level and things like that is what turns it into, a herbal remedy that a lot of the homesteaders use. And they make this for their family, and everybody gets a shot a day, and they just
sort of like your elderberry. Hand that over for a second.
Yeah. And so I also do elderberry juice, or, and it's like an elixir.
Syrup.
It's it's called a syrup because you have a lot of honey in it. So that's done with the elderberry bush, and you do the elderberry and you simmer it. And then you do a cinnamon sticks, and you do some cloves, and you wait till you're all done with it and infusing, I guess, or simmering down. Then you take all the matter out, and then you let it cool down, and then you add honey, and usually local honey, and then this does stay refrigerated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can can it, but I don't
You
know if it's
yeah.
as good for you if you
Well,
if you can it.
if you're
I've
gonna
canned it.
if you can it, don't put your honey in it. Save your honey
Oh.
for afterwards. That's what because you destroy the honey benefits.
Oh,
The
I didn't
temp.
even use honey. I used sugar.
Yeah. So I get local honey and usually use local honey
Okay.
on that. But you can also make a elderberry tincture too by just putting elderberries in an alcohol base and making an elderberry tincture, and then you strain that off.
There's so many things I want to cover here. So let's jump into the salves and the balms
Okay.
and all of that, because you've got
Which
you've
one?
got quite a things.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're going to start with the soap.
You want to do soap?
Yeah, we're going to do soap.
Okay. So I am a very newbie about soap, and I bartered with a person who does make soap, and she came up from, if you're familiar with here, an hour drive away from Horseshoe Bend, and she came up and she taught us how to make soap. So this is a bar of soap that I have made, and I put it in just a silicone,
Form.
Mold. Trying to do the Kaye's better at it than me. I'll let Kaye do that.
Okay.
Okay. And so, we do this is a lye mix where you have to know exactly. There's even a soap calculator that tells you how much percentage. And she taught us all that. And we infuse this. Here's the sage one. So it gets infused, and we use this one that she's showing you is infused with sage. So you make like the water and you infuse your sage with the water. Then you infuse your sage with the tallow, melted down tallow, which I have lots of tallow like this. Here, I'll let you do the showing.
Okay.
So that's a tallow that I rendered down, and then I'll pop that lid off. It's sealed from the heat, and that's shelf stable for forever. And I will use that and mix it, melt it down and mix it with sage. So everything is mixed with sage, and then we put lye with it. And there's a formula for everything. It's a soap calculator, and then that gets all blended together. And you have to wait till it traces, and then you pour it in. You got to have safety glasses and everything.
Oh, because of the lye?
Oh yeah, yeah. You do the lye outside. You wear gloves. You wear safety goggles.
I didn't realize it was all that.
Yeah, it's a big thing. But soap.
Everybody does it.
Soap, yeah, they do. With soap, you need lye to make soap.
Do you like, even if you buy goat milk soap from all the farms and stuff?
They have to, if they're if they're calling it a soap, it has to be made with lye. If not, you end up with laundry detergent or something else.
And what about the lotion bar?
With a lotion bar, this lotion bar, I'll let Kaye show it.
Okay.
It's
so pretty.
Yeah, it's going to be somewhat. That is made with infused like oil, because a lotion bar takes a cup of like an oil, so it's a lotion, and then I put shea butter, and then I put beeswax. So it's a combination. So you can melt down your items in like a double boiler, and then that gets poured into a mold.
So it's very similar to the
this is probably one of the easiest things. Kaye, you're better at this than I am. This is probably the easiest thing in the world to make is a lotion bar. So when this one's going with Kaye anyway. So if you want to just rub it on your hands, just on, and as the body heats up, the lotion, so she can put that, so now she'll have, it helps when it's, so her hands, so she can do that after she gardens or do whatever. But I also make other little salves, and this is going home with her too.
This is the one you carry on you when you're out in the garden.
Yeah. So you carry this, and this has all the potential for like comfrey in it and dandelion. I think I listed what it have. It has comfrey, olive oil, and beeswax. That's all that is, So the comfrey was infused into the thing to get the best benefit. And then same with like one of these. This is literally infused St. John's wort, was done in like a sweet almond or a jojoba. I'm very big on jojoba oil. And it was infused with fresh, in this case, fresh, because with St. John's wort, you almost have to have the fresh plant matter.
I do have it fresh at home. What do I have to do with it now?
Well, you infuse it, and in this case, jojoba oil. So this is infused. Okay. Here, you can show that again too, because I'm a little bad at that. So it's a lighter color because the plant matter makes it pink, because it's a purple plant when it's in the oil. And
Well, my
so
plant is green. The leaves are green.
you need the flowers.
Oh no.
Yeah, you
It's
got to pick
not
it with the
blooming.
flowers. Well, when it blooms,
Oh,
pick
good
your flowers.
grief.
Yeah. Well,
I only
you're
have
gonna-
one little plant.
Well, honey, you're not going to be
Okay.
hurting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I
You
wanted
gotta-
to make it.
Well, you can
That's
make
why
it.
I was keeping it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I just
Oh.
wanted you to cover the
And-
lard thing.
Well,
Is that what,
no,
not
tallow.
lard, tallow.
Yeah.
Tallow.
So this is a whipped tallow that I make.
Here.
This is my own that I use. And now this one is not as whipped. So, and that's made with the kidney fat. And this is one of the things Kaye and I were talking about, the
Yeah.
difference. Ooh, sorry. This is how I get my kidney fat. So you can see how it's thicker up here, like white. The best part of a cow when it's being butchered is the suet. They call it the suet fat. That's wrapped around the kidney. That is the one that you want to get for making products that would go on your face or your body.
And that's suet?
That is suet. That's
Okay.
called beef kidney fat. That's supposed to be what was taken around the kidney.
Okay.
Okay.
And so you have to get that from
A butcher or your own cow.
slaughterhouse.
If you slaughter your own cow, yeah. And the trick is you've got to make a relationship with them before they butcher it, because the rules are they can't sell it or whatever. So you find someone who is butchering their cow and you can get it that way. Or you can get a butcher who saves his and sells it on the side. Usually they'll call it dog food sometimes because they can't say per the rules, but
Okay, and when you take that, just so we can imagine, you let it thaw out, and then what?
you cut it up in little teeny pieces, and I do what's called dry rendering. I don't do the wet rendering. I have done wet rendering, but I choose to do the dry. So I cut it up in little pieces, and then I put it in like the stove, and I let it render down on like 220, very low heat, and I just let it go.
For how long?
Till it starts to, you're constantly pulling it out, pulling the oil out, and then this is what ends up in the jars, is you're pouring it in as it's melting.
Oh, okay.
And at the very end,
and you've got to strain that, I would think, right?
well, not when it's like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. It's through a strainer, so all the little bitty pieces,
Bits and pieces, yeah.
But
So in other words, it just takes time because some pieces are larger than others, and
correct.
so you're going to
But you
get
cut it all
the
down,
liquid,
small as you can.
and then you pour it into the thing, and you've got a strainer.
Yeah,
and
I
then-
usually ladle it into another place to then be able to pour it into
yeah.
and get it while it's
Like
hot
a-
and cap it while it's
Yeah,
hot.
like a Pyrex, 2-cup Pyrex or
Yeah,
something, and
yeah.
then you can pour it. Okay.
Exactly, because you do want it to be the cleanest you can.
Right, and now that you have it in that can jar,
Yeah.
then how do you go from there? What's the
Oh,
next
in this step, if I were to, I would take this out of this jar. I would then melt it down in a double boiler. I would pour it into my KitchenAid stainless steel, put it in the refrigerator, let it solidify a little bit. Then I would bring it back and I would whip it up, and then I would start adding. So it's like a cup of tallow to a quarter cup of an oil. And so the oil most people choose to
one
use.
quarter, 1/4,
No,
half and half?
So you want to, when you do the cup of oil and and it's solidified, then you pour in your cup and then you whip it. And so
And
at a
how
high
do you
speed
whip it? Like with a beater?
with the it's in the KitchenAid, so it
The
whips with
beater.
the whipped one. You can use a hand beater; they're just as good. And you continue to whip it. You look at it a little bit. You put it in to get still solidified a little bit more, and you kind of do a game where you just see the texture you like. And then once it's really whipped, you can then add an essential oil. So like this one here that you were smelling,
Mhm.
it just has a.
It smells like rose, I think.
I think it probably is a rose.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely,
rose.
we kind of think it is a rose. We had a mystery container we were playing around with. So we do that a lot. And when it's whipped, then you just pipe it into a jar. But all mine have sold or gone. Everybody wanted it, so they I plan to make more. And so that's what we do with that. So I must have quite a bit of tallow in my freezer to do it anytime. And then when you infuse it, now this one is not in tallow, but this is kind of what it's like. This one is nasturtium with sweet almonds. And that's kind of how I infuse
What
things
part
on
of the nasturtium plant did you use?
just the leaf.
Just the nasturtium leaf?
Yeah, because
It looks kind of shredded. Did you do something?
Oh
to
yeah,
it?
I always freeze dry it and then shred it down.
Oh,
Yeah, so then
okay.
you can see
But
it
you
looks
can
like,
do it fresh, right? I mean,
well,
I've done it both
but
ways.
anything with an oil has to be dry.
Okay. That's a
Anything
rule?
that's a pretty good rule to follow. There's some exceptions.
Okay.
Like the St. John's wort has to be put in when the flowers are, but
Fresh?
yeah, fresh. But yeah, so with the tincture, you can put fresh plant matter in to your vodka. But and you
Right.
can do dry too. Don't get me wrong. You can do both, but it's if it's going to be into an oil, it has to be dry
Okay.
because the water will contaminate the oil.
And it'll mold.
It'll mold.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Yes.
I just wanted to cover this real quick because I posted this yesterday. This is maybe your last bottle.
I think I have 2 more in there because that was my
Okay.
barter one. They have
And
to.
these are her labels. So they look so cute. And whoops, I'm sorry, I'm in front of your face.
Oh, you're fine.
Needs to be in front of my face. And what is going on? Gosh, it's backwards.
There you
Okay,
go.
there we go.
Yeah.
Dandelion syrup. And so if you can imagine anything more tedious, she collected like 500 or so flowers.
Yeah.
And you have to, and I'm sure a lot of people already know this, but just for the people who don't, you have to sit and pull out each one of those little yellow petals, and you collect the yellow petals, take the green out because it's bitter, and the yellow petals are sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now,
then
go ahead.
Go ahead.
There's a trick. If you take the petal and you twist the green part, the petals will just pull out all in one. So
like release.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
but you
good
still
to
have,
know.
but it's still hours and hours of sitting and twisting. And
So you got to really want to make that.
Yeah, you have to really want to be. You really want to be making.
But it is so good.
Yeah.
And you put the where did you put that on Instagram of the how to do it?
Yeah, on the first post, someone asked,
no,
and
on
I
my
put their
community
name.
page.
Yeah, on your community page, someone asked, and I
Yeah.
put in the recipe.
Yeah.
For
so
that.
Did you put sugar in it? Sugar?
I do pure cane sugar. I try to stay away from white because the barter group, everybody likes to be a little as organic as possible, and there's no sense putting honey in it because it tastes like honey when it's done. It's actually called the poor man's honey when you do it.
Oh,
in a certain way. So the syrup is just reduced down a little more than the
well,
honey part
I think
of it.
now we're going to move on to sourdough.
Oh, okay.
Which is one of your newer accomplishments, right?
Yeah. As if I didn't need enough on my plate, I got
Yeah.
an inkling because I was always trading everybody and bartering for a sourdough loaf of bread. And, everybody comes up with these beautiful loaves, and I'm like, oh, that's just gorgeous. I could never do that. Well, after watching about a million YouTubes and TikToks, I started making sourdough. I took out every sourdough starter I had traded and bartered with to try and do this, revamped them all. And so I ended up with 6 sourdough starters on my countertop. And if you do sourdough starter, that is overkill. Tremendously overkill, but I didn't know which ones were going to come back to life and which ones weren't. So the trick is to use very as close to organic, definitely unbleached flour. And you start out with so much, and everyone wants to do measurements. I'm kind of not a measurement person, but I do have a scale. When I make the bread, I do the 100 grams things. Everything's in grams. So what you want to come up with is to start your base, and that's with the unbleached flour. Organic if possible. Costco sells a beautiful one. And then you put in water, and then you just start like day 1 mixing, and then by day 10, the fermenting and all the parts of the sourdough bread or starter starts forming. Now I just fed this one this morning. I'll try to get this to where you can see it. You can see, I don't want to spill it on Kaye's thing, but it's still, don't know if you spill it, you'll spill it. I'm just trying to, for your own benefit.
What are you trying to show?
The starter, the inside. I don't want it to fall over onto your keyboard. Now this one was just fed, so you can see it's a bit runny. Grab that, Kaye.
Yep.
So, but after the day goes by, it will go up past this black line here, and it'll double, and then it does a fall. It's fine. It does a fall. And then you discard half of it, half of and get back down to your, below the line again, feed it. And then the next day if it's risen again a second time, then you can make sourdough bread with it. Now, you don't let anything go to waste, but the process for making sourdough bread is you start with your starter, you make a shaggy little, bit, then you have to do all these stretch and folds, then you have to put it on the counter for 24 hours or 12 to 24 hours. It rises. As long as it rises twice, you're good. Then you have to turn around and take and shape that dough with some stretch, stretching it to a triangle, folding it over, rolling it up, and doing some pulls, and then pop that back into a banneton, and then cover it and put it in the refrigerator for like 24 hours. I have one right now that I've infused in my tincture and sourdough little refrigerator I have, and it's going to be ready to bake today because I wanted Kaye to be able to have some to take with her if she likes. And
Well,
it's
that
done
one
with
the other
cheese
day
and
with the cranberries and the
oh,
walnuts.
and I'm hoping
Wow.
that this sourdough rises well enough for me to make that for her, infuse that for her, so she can take some of the cranberry one home with her too, and stuff, because she's just enjoyed that. So, and that's the first time I ever did an inclusion. So I'm only 2 months into my sourdough journey, and I'm already at the point where I'm able to make decent loaves and do inclusions and things like that. So
I was reading something. What's an inclusion?
an inclusion is where you take your sourdough and you add ingredients. So in my case, for her, the cranberry walnut she's talking about was the cranberries, the dried like raisin cranberries and walnuts. Just chop them up and then put them in. Then they're in the first fold. So there's a triangle on your countertop. Then you fold it over, put some more cranberries and walnuts on. Then fold the other flap over, put some more cranberries and and then you roll it in the thing into a loaf, and then do some stretches and stuff. I can grab my one out of the refrigerator and show them the bowl if you think that's
Sure.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
You talk.
So, if anybody has any questions, you need to be putting them on the chat window now. No, I don't think Daryl is here. Gina, I don't. Oh, this is Daryl. I'm using Denise's iPad. Oh, dear. Okay, so everybody, Daryl is one of my, well, if you know me, you know that I've done a huge number of videos with Daryl, and he called me right before the live and said that he couldn't get on the chat, and I'm going, oh my gosh, we don't get the benefit of his jokes and everything. He's always so funny. And so they live 8 minutes apart, and I said, it's too bad Denise is there, and it's too bad he doesn't come over. So he obviously came over. Somebody came over. So Daryl is here, everyone, if you have anything you want to say to him. So first of all, tell them what this cute little
This
thing
is a silicone banneton. It's what shapes your loaf of bread, and then in it is what's rising.
Let me hold it.
Okay, you just don't want it to fall. I don't want you to have a problem. But that's an inclusion of jalapenos and cheddar cheese.
So all an inclusion, an inclusion sounds like an infusion or something. No, all you're doing is including
But that's
various things.
That's the fancy word they use.
Okay.
So I use the fancy word.
Okay, so how long does it sit like that? Is that ready to bake?
I will bake this in the afternoon. So later it'll have done almost 24 hours. Or I can wait till tomorrow, Sunday, and bake it.
Mm-hmm.
They want at least 12 to 24 hours. It depends on how much it rises.
And why do you suppose you didn't start sourdough with all of these other skills that you've mastered until now?
Well, I think a little bit would have been fear. I mean, I'm kind of, one of those people that really likes that when I do something, I do it right. And so I was watching all these videos and I'm like, well, that seems like well, you said, I would never do sourdough. It's so much work. I'm like, no, Kaye, you can do sourdough. You get a rhythm. You learn how to take your sourdough out of the refrigerator at the time, feed it, and know that within 24 to 48 hours, you're going to bake your bread. There's a little bit of work in between, but not very much. And you would love it.
And when do you know to discard? And what do you discard?
Well, so in this case, when this one rises up on the first rise, I've already discarded. So if this, and fed it this morning. So if this rises up and I hadn't already fed it, for it second time, I discard half down to where you have just a little bit. And then,
So it's unscientific number that how much you discard.
well, if you go by all the science that everybody wants to put into it, there's their part that just eye it, and there's a part that go 20 grams and 100
Okay,
grams, you know,
okay.
I'm that would drive me nuts.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. So I just eyeball it and
You
I'm
just
doing
kind of
fine.
take away half of what was there before.
Yeah. When this rises up and it drops.
Nobody can see.
Oh, when this rises up and it drops, I can take half. But this is on its second feed. So depending on my weather and everything else, when this rises up, I can actually make another, I can start to do another loaf if I want to.
And when do you know it's didn't
Oh, it's
work?
bubbly. Oh, you know.
It stinks.
It's no.
No?
Sourdough has a fragrance that, you know, like even if you were to.
Now, I know when it's good, it has a good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, and that's just working on its second feed. So I did discard. And then with sourdough, you have a lot of discard. So you make things. I made these crackers.
Do that. You segued beautifully on that.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
So with discard,
May I
you
have
can
one?
you can have one.
Thank you.
So with discard, you can make things. And in this case, you take the discard and you put it on a parchment paper in the oven around, 350, and you add seasonings. In this case, I added everything but the bagel. You can get it at Costco, and you bake that. You bake it for like 10 to 15 minutes, and then you score it, bring it out, score it with a pizza cutter so that it gets the ridges of the cracker. And then you bake it, and then you have what's called discard crackers. You can do discard pancakes. I did. I made something else with discard, and I'm not 100% sure remember what it was.
But, yeah, but the crackers, it's just the discard. That you're
just the discard.
Yeah,
and a little bit of butter, and a little bit of butter.
You mean underneath, or
no? You mix it. So you discard. You take your discard. Depending on how much you have, you add like a tablespoon of butter, 2 tablespoons. In this case, I added 3 tablespoons because I had a lot.
Softened, melted.
I melted in the microwave, and I just pour it in.
Okay.
And then mix it together, and then just spread it out. Use like a pastry,
But obviously, if you're making pancakes,
you pour part of it in with your pancake mix.
Batter. Yeah.
It's just a way to use it, and it gives it kind of a sourdough taste. It's sometimes crackers
are great.
I love the crackers. Crackers are my favorite so far. You can make sourdough pizza bread, like, so you put it in a cast iron pan, you pour it in, you kind of mix it to where the dough or the discard is a little more round on the top. Sides, and then you make yourself a pizza, and it pops right out of this.
Excuse me just one second. Randy Foster, hello, welcome. We're in Nampa, which is in the Boise conglomerate of cities. So we were actually in Coeur d'Alene at the Modern Homesteading Conference at the end of June this year, the two of us. I came out, saw my son and daughter-in-law, and very pregnant daughter-in-law, and then we went up to the conference, came back, had a great trip. So I'm here again because now I have a granddaughter. So Northern Idaho is beautiful. In fact, looked at a property up near Hayden, Idaho, but that didn't work out. Let's see. Anybody got a question while she's doing whatever she's doing?
Putting my sourdough back in.
Let's see. Well, we can hope, Liminal. We can hope. So how many feeding days before use?
On the sourdough, which I'm assuming, because that's what we're talking about, is once your sourdough is established as a starter, you feed it. You can feed it the day before, and then make bread the next day.
And how many times would you estimate that you would feed it? 3?
Well, when you first start, it's from the first start till the end. It's like a 7-day till you get a starter that is active.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a 7 to 10 day process.
Okay.
Now I have.
So you only feed it 3 or 4 times during those 7 days?
Oh no, you are discarding and feeding almost every day. Yeah, sometimes twice a day, and the ratios. Yeah, the ratios.
So every time it doubles.
Yeah.
Is that the easiest way to remember?
And then you discard, and then you feed it again, because you're trying to ferment that starter so that it'll make a sourdough. And the interesting part about it is when you start, like a lot of people will dehydrate their starter so they can have it for another time, so they have a little better chance of than just using a flour water mix. And that's what I've done. I've taken some of my discard and I freeze dry it, or some of my starter, even if I had 6 of them, so I started freeze drying them to see.
And how did you do that? Just smear it on
Just smear it on some
parchment?
parchment paper, and this is how much freeze dried starter I have now.
And what does this? Can you start with it?
Yeah, this is what, if you were to buy from somebody
Oh, they sell a
sourdough
little
starter
tiny thing.
and they gave you 60 grams,
And
you
it's
would
like-
have 2 batches of starter
And it's
dough.
like $12 or something.
I know, yeah. There's
it's
one
very
woman, she sells her
expensive.
stuff for like $20, and there's nobody that I've seen that does the freeze dried. So I did a whole test. I wasn't just going to say, hey, yeah, I'm perfect, I did a freeze dried. I freeze dried some starter, and then I went all the way from rehydrating it, feeding it, and making bread, and it came out beautiful. In fact, I think the almond one was the cranberry almond one was the one we did. That was
the walnut.
I think that was the one that was done from my freeze dried.
That was
starter.
delicious.
Yeah.
So we also have Anita Leach, who is in Nampa.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. So Anita, if you've just recently joined, we covered all in the beginning about all the groups. Maybe you've been watching the whole time, but if you haven't, we covered all the groups she's involved in, some of which are local. So you'll want to go back and check that out and get connected with Teresa if you're doing any of this kind of and if you're not doing any of this kind of stuff, you really need to connect with her, because you will be doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Coco, it's okay.
So does anybody else have a question for Teresa? Because I think well,
Tinctures.
no, we didn't. We haven't talked about tinctures. So while you guys are getting your any other questions you have, we're going to talk about tinctures. So you wanna get the big things?
Yeah, I'm going to get the big. So one of the things, sorry, as I grab off screen, I'll hand this one to Kaye.
Okay.
So one of the things you will learn about me is I'm a go big or go home girl. So this is a half a gallon. And because I'm in a group and they barter a lot, I make half-gallon tinctures, and then I have enough for my family to have a tincture, and then I have enough for to barter with. And so this one here is a leaf matter, and that's ginkgo. Kaye's, we're going to be making an apothecary variety for Kaye to take home with her. So this is ginkgo. And so that's a leaf matter.
Which is supposed to help with brain function,
brain
right?
function. Yeah. I'm also doing it for my husband. I have a older husband, so we're definitely doing it for that. And then this is hawthorn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's for high blood pressure, which
is this the one I just had in my hand?
No, you had ginkgo.
No, the other one. Yeah, I had one like this, but up before. Okay, I already held this up.
Yeah, it's just the two. So
it's got plant matter in the bottom.
Yeah, and that's more seeds.
Oh, okay.
So when you get it, so this is what happens.
Like hawthorn berry?
Yeah, hawthorn berry. So like the ginkgo one, that was leaves that I collected from a friend who has a ginkgo tree. So when they all turned yellow, we ran over there and gathered up all their ginkgo leaves I could, and I made 2 half gallons. So I have a gallon of ginkgo tincture. And what you do is you put the leaves in, fill it up so much, and then you put in your alcohol. And I use vodka. And I have a friend who bootlegs it over from California because it's cheaper. And it's this size here. So what size?
It says
what's the
it's
weight?
It's 80 proof, which is actually 40% alcohol.
Yeah, but I don't know. Whatever the amount is in that, literally will fill up 1 half
at least
gallon.
a liter. It's heavy.
So this, the bottle that she had, fills up this for me. So when my friend goes, she will bring me anywhere from 48 bottles to 72 bottles, depending on where I stand on the bottles left over. And that's how many things I'll make. And then when I'm done making them, I put them in a little jar here, trying to hold my price out. There's a price on it. I don't want them to have to see the price.
Okay.
Right there. Put your finger on the price.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So I make a label and I put it in a amber jar with a dropper, and then it's got all the ingredients and everything in there for that.
Hold on just a second, everybody. For some reason, I'm having to verify, I guess because I'm out of my area. YouTube is having me verify every 30 minutes.
So
I don't know
if it's still showing, but I'm going to assume that it is. So then after it seeps in its alcohol for 6 to 8 weeks, I strain it. Now it can go longer. There's no rhyme or reason, because someday I might not get to strain 10 tinctures at a time. So then I put it in the 4 little ounce, or 2 ounce bottles. We'll be doing 2 ounce, so Kaye can take a carry on. And then we, they get labeled.
This is 2 or 4?
I think this one is 2.
Oh, yeah, that's got the price. Okay.
Yeah. But it could be a 4.
I think it's 2.
Yeah. We want to make sure when we,
Yeah.
for you, we don't want them to get, taken by TSA. So, so I make a lot of them, and I usually research, and I always recommend everybody, because guess what? I'm not a doctor. Kaye's not a doctor. We have to abide by the doctor
right.
gods.
That's right.
So you do your own research. I don't ever tell anybody dosage. I don't go, oh, you take. I go, no.
Hey,
It's feverfew. Look it up.
Right.
And do your own research.
Gina, can you just please grab my playlist for the medicinal plants? It's in all caps, medicinal plants, and post that, please. Thank you.
And it's so funny, because usually if Kaye's posted a video, and of course there's always a delay when they get up, she'll post a video and she'll say, hey, I mowed all this. And I go, my God, you mowed the clover, and she's like, I got some. But, in my head, everything.
Yes.
That is a weed, that is deemed a weed.
Except crabgrass. Ah!
I know. Well, the crabs like it, I guess. But it's just one of those things that you just learn to, take a chance on everything, save it, preserve it, freeze dry it. That's what I have the pharmaceutical freeze dryer for. All my herbs go into that.
I have a question. Karen, I was told that, because they want you, meaning the medical establishment wants you on lifetime medicine, because that's where they make their money. If you give in and say, okay, I'll take a statin, you will be on it the rest of your life. And they will make a lot of money, and you'll probably be less healthy.
Yeah.
And plus they lied about cholesterol. So
yeah.
Being unhealthy. But I was told that if you take lemon, fresh lemon. So I was taking squeezed half of a fresh lemon every morning in my filtered water or distilled water, with my Celtic sea salt, a couple of grains of that, with my vitamin C powder from Osceola cherry. So I was doing that every morning for a while, like months.
Yeah.
And that also the fish oil
actually
helps to lower cholesterol. So I've been doing that too. And then I'm sure there's a tincture.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can even take, for example, that my doctor insists that I be on high blood pressure medicine. I'm not. That's the hawthorn, and I take cayenne pepper. I take anything that does a circulatory for you that. Because my husband, we didn't have all the benefits when he started going on all his medications. And guess what? He takes like 15 freaking pills a day, and they're always playing Russian roulette. Oh, hey, let's take you off this. Let's see if you can survive without it. Oh, you can't. Here's 2 more just to make sure that you know.
Faithful Flowers says statins almost killed her husband.
Oh, yeah.
I don't doubt it.
And the sad part about it is, like you said, once you're on them, it is tremendously hard to get yourself off of them, because, everything's in control, and they want you to believe that you're just going to keel over in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Don't do it, Karen.
Yeah. They literally think they want you to believe that. My doctor, every single time. And again, when I say my blood pressure is high, it's like 190 over something. And they're like always thinking I'm ready to go have a seizure but it's been that way for 2 or 3 years.
Well, I have low blood pressure, always have, but I would go in, and because in my history, my father had a stroke.
Yeah.
He would always go, Kaye, you don't want to have a stroke.
Yeah.
Kaye, you don't have a stroke.
I know. It's just the fear factor.
Yeah.
And for me, I will research everything, hell and high water, if I can say that on TikTok, till I can find
YouTube.
YouTube. Sorry.
I'm not on TikTok.
I
I was
know.
on TikTok in 2020. Somebody said, "Okay, you're an actor. You got to be on TikTok." I'm going,
Yeah.
"Oh God, oh, another thing." Okay, and
Yeah.
I uploaded. I think I uploaded 2 1-minute videos, just
Yeah.
walking and talking,
Yeah.
and then I heard that it went around that it was owned by China and that China was looking at all the
Yeah.
and I just got
Hey,
off and I never got back on.
right now, Trump says it's the best thing he ever was on, because I'm hoping he doesn't ban it. I enjoy it quite frequently. They'll put some rules on it and we'll be fine
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
stuff. But everybody, I mean, you wouldn't be on Facebook or YouTube or anything with what they do. But
We have where are you from, Samira Chugtai's backyard garden? I've never seen you. Assalamu alaikum. I don't know what you're saying, but welcome, and just let us know what country you're writing from. Grapefruit for high blood pressure.
no,
Have you heard that?
okay. See, they tell you that if you're on any blood pressure type medicine or anything else, you can't take grapefruit. We used to have a beautiful grapefruit tree in our backyard. We had to stop eating it because my husband couldn't eat it. I mean, probably I could have eaten it and probably still can, but it's just become so natural for us not to grab it because he can't have it.
Well, that's the problem with when I met Dr. Patrick Jones, the
Yeah.
herbalist.
Yeah.
What's his
A homegrown herbalist.
homegrown herbalist,
Yeah.
right? He was saying that you cannot mix pharmaceuticals with herbal medicine.
Exactly. Well, that's why they do their own research.
So you do one or the other.
Yeah. And my husband's inundated. He takes so many that I probably can't break him off of anything
Some
he's
of it.
on. Well,
Yeah.
because he's on blood thinners.
Marley
Everything
One
blood
is
thinners done,
here.
yeah.
Marley One is here. Did a great live stream with Marley One. Actually, that was my last live stream. If you guys, 10 months ago, if you want to go back and see what he's doing up in Illinois. Lady Nickerson, have 1 high blood pressure. Have 1. Okay.
1 pill. I think she means high blood pressure.
Okay.
Do your research. There's some people out there that do a whole series. I'm okay to say another channel.
Yeah.
Rain Country. She's off
she's great.
all her high blood. Look what Heidi did. She's been off of all their medicine.
Kudos to Heidi. She's awesome.
So she did a whole series, and that's why I'm on some of the things. And like you said, the Dr. Jones, I take his circulatory tincture because I'm not equipped yet to know exactly what to put into my own. So I'll gladly take from other
Angie
known.
is saying Reedy got off of she got her husband off statins. They almost killed him. And she had a great doctor who listened. That's the thing.
My doctor pretty much listens to me. He still tells me every time I go in, I need it. But see, sadly, my husband, he had open heart surgery, has a titanium heart valve, is on blood thinners, and anything you do with blood thinners is the kiss of death for him. So we have to be very, very careful. I don't know if I could completely save him from any of that if we went sideways.
Yes.
So we just keep them on them.
So Daryl and Denise are both on under Denise Carr. If you guys have any questions for Daryl, I've done a lot of videos with Daryl. You can ask about him or direct a question to him. But he's right there under Denise Carr if you have a question. And nattokinase is also natural blood thinner. Got off Eliquis. Oh, that's good.
When you can do it from a standpoint of that, in the case of my husband, he has that heart valve. I can't mess with that heart valve. If the blood does not flow through that heart valve, he's dead.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I can't.
So what is he on? Eliquis?
No, I don't. He doesn't let me play with his medicines because I'm a hover wife. I would be like,
I take nattokinase. Everybody needs to do your own research.
Yeah. So, and one of the other things too, I think that you have to understand is if you haven't established, like I know my husband's on blood thinners, a hit to the head could be devastating, but he cuts himself all the time. So I have gotten all the natural things to stop blood flow.
Like what?
Well,
we should talk about that.
Yeah.
So I had this, back, I guess it was in November. I mean, I was under a lot of stress, gotta say.
Yeah.
And I got and it turned cold, and I got my lip just split, you know, and I started to get, and it happened last year too. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember one time I did a live stream, I had a scab on my lip. It's
Yeah.
pretty gross, but anyway, I did it anyway. And so one night, you know, I just could, you know, the blood is just right under that, your lip skin is
bleeds
so
easy, yeah.
thin. And so I had been mindful in my preps to get my medical preps to get something called bleed stop. Okay, maybe you have it in your preps. It's called bleed stop. I got it at Walmart, and it was just in there. I never used it. Didn't even know what it was, but it's in a.
I'm looking up what he uses for.
So
shingles.
Anyway, sorry, I was distracted by that. Bleed stop. So you tear open a little packet, and when it's coming out, I'm thinking, gosh, that looks awful lot like cornstarch. And I look on the package, and there's a name, and I don't, because I wasn't going to be talking about it today. I don't remember the name, but the ingredient is the same thing. If you look up the ingredient, you look that up.
Yeah,
it's cornstarch.
Yeah,
and so I'm going, man, just cornstarch is a whole. You can even get organic cornstarch.
Yeah,
without any possible stabilizers or whatever they put in the medicines.
Yeah,
and I just put it on there, and
because the trick is to kind of keep it dry and everything else.
Yeah.
But there's even, I mean, it's just so, you know, like even when we follow, you know, we both follow Dr. Jones because he's a known herbalist and he's very, very good. I don't know everything. So I go to someone who knows more than me. He even did a whole series on how to do an herbal medical garden walk. And that's what I plan to do when I move to that acreage. Is I don't plan to have my plants all in containers. I'll have them in certain parts of this garden walk. And
where, on your property?
Yeah, on the property.
Are you going to have a garden walk? That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, all medical. I want it to be all medical plants because every plant to me is medical.
Well, you mean you'd have to plant it and plant it all?
Yeah, I'm going to plant it out with rocks and
Yeah.
water features maybe and things like that. But yeah, so he did a whole thing on, I'm trying to think of what he called it. He didn't call it landscaping and he didn't call it herbs. He called it something else. And it was such a beautiful name for what, you know, a medical garden should look like and how you can do that.
I know. I know.
And he's in Idaho, so he's got the same environment I do.
I know what Daryl is thinking. He's thinking of his
bamboo
walk.
Hey, you know, I could have a bamboo walk too. Daryl, come to my house, Daryl, and help me plant it.
No, you don't.
No, I won't want that much bamboo.
No, well, yeah, I was going to talk about the soil here.
Yeah,
the soil here is almost black. It's so good, but there is this developer.
Oh yeah.
That, I mean, did you say he's traded on the stock exchange?
Oh, he's big. He even got
Caleb Brown.
No, CBH Homes. So Corey Barton Homes. Yeah.
And he has gone to all these farmers, these older farmers. They got these huge acreages and said, you can farm as long as you want, but when you're done,
it's mine.
It's mine.
I'm buying it now.
I'm buying it now. And he just waits. And it always happens.
Because the younger generation doesn't want to farm.
And this whole development we're in right here is his.
Is one of his.
One of his. And we're looking out, and all that out there is a big field. That's going to go.
That's
all going to be houses.
You can see where the roads, guess where those roads are going to.
Yeah.
They're going to come straight through.
We can, looking right out here right now, we can see how many miles is it to that mountain?
Oh, I don't know. I'm
10,
terrible.
15, 20. I don't know.
Well,
but it's just flat, pretty much flat. And you can see the mountains in the distance. All that will be houses.
And he doesn't
thousands of houses.
He builds. Okay.
Anyway, what she was saying is the soil, they come in to do a development. They scrape off all this beautiful black soil and they sell it.
Yeah.
And when you go in, you have this little cookie cutter landscaping. And if you want any good soil in your yard, you got to buy it and bring it back.
In. So basically he scrapes off everything the farmer has done over the years, which makes the land beautiful. Yeah, for sure. And so you have to bring everything in. I mean, I chose to do raised garden beds just because I'm not a spring chicken anymore getting on the ground, but the land that I have going to, they've already, in fact, I hope to take Kaye to it today. They already have part of the dirt moved to make roads and things like that because they've already started, and it's pitch black. I mean, it's
Daryl said bamboo likes black soil. I'm sure
it does, Daryl.
I don't think there's anything that wouldn't like that, except maybe cedar trees, right?
Hey, Daryl,
Cedar trees will grow on rocks.
Yeah. Daryl, in San Diego, if you did bamboo, the zoo would buy your bamboo from you to feed their animals. So people local would harvest their bamboo and take it to the zoo, and the zoo would pay them for it. In fact, the zoo would even come and harvest it for them.
We're talking about blood pressure again, changes with age, and many doctors consider 100 plus your age to be good blood pressure.
100 plus my age.
What?
Okay, so I'm 62. Someone do the math for me on that.
I don't understand exactly what you just said, Daryl.
Daryl, I'm 62. Do my math, and we'll keep talking.
And
I just fight him all the way. That, you know, I mean, the one time he put it on me, he wanted me down to 140, and I was taking it, and I was like standing up and almost passing out. And he goes, "Oh, we've got too much." I mean, I'm supposed to take such a bare minimum, but the interesting thing is, I still took the prescription. I mean, I still brought the prescription every time they gave it to me. So I have a supply of high blood pressure medicine to barter with if someone, you know, if we have a real it hits the fan moment, and someone has to have blood pressure medicine.
Karen was saying, I remember back when I was, this goes back 15, 20 years, and I was researching what I could do as opposed to taking the pharmaceutical, the statins.
Yeah.
And I remember someone said red yeast rice. She said, but it's expensive. And so I'm thinking that, well, you just need to do your research. I can't tell you.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they lied about cholesterol. So,
well, that's my thing too, is I had a doctor in California, and I think
they lied about it being bad for you.
Yes.
They lied about eggs. They lied about fat.
I was probably the healthiest I was when I was doing the carnivore diet or the keto diet. It was then. Now they kind of gone into carnivore. But then guess what? You can't afford the meat. The good meat, other than eating hamburger every day, you just start to go, oh, you know, I kind of crave this, I crave that, which is all part of everything. I mean, I know what I do wrong. I just have to have the willpower to correct it.
And now you're making bread.
Well, but sourdough bread is really good for you.
No, that's true.
Yeah, it's much better than, because I don't eat regular bread. And sourdough has always been just something that I've enjoyed tremendously. So
even when I was on my real raw diet from 2000 to 2005, he would say it was okay for us to have a little bit of sourdough.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
sourdough is much healthier for you than eating your, you know, and you can make sourdough bread into loaf pans too, and it just takes the shape, and then it's, you know, nice. But yeah. But my husband's the one that eats the bread around here. I really actually don't, except the sourdough, and so I've only just started that. You know, up recently. So I would eat it, like you said. We made the French toast. It came out beautiful. It tasted amazing. Did
we finish covering the tinctures? Because I feel like I was distracted and didn't.
I guess.
Did anybody else have any questions about any of the things we've covered? We've been on for an hour and a half. And give me one of those. I'm ready for one of those.
This is why Kaye's going to buy a freeze dryer.
I am not big on dehydrated fruit, you know, because it's so sort of sticky and sticks in your teeth. I can't stand that. And so French toast.
Yeah.
And so, but she said, try one of this. This is a dehydrated.
No, freeze dried banana.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
A freeze dry. I look over here and I get distracted. Freeze dried slice of banana. And
can you hear that crunch?
That is so good.
Yeah. So that's like
sweet.
That's like candy. If you need the sweet for when, you know, it hits the van or whatever. I mean, bananas. My grandkids will come up and go, "Can I have some bananas?" And I open this up, and I go, "Get your bowl." They bring a bowl. They must come back to me 3 or 4 times. Well,
what would happen if you put a bunch of those in a bowl with some milk?
It would mush up. You could actually rehydrate this and make banana bread.
I understand that, but what would if you put it in a bowl of milk, would it retain any of the, or would just go to powder?
It would stay in its form and kind of hate to use the
mushy?
word, get kind of consistency of a banana bread banana. This is not,
Okay.
necessarily, I mean,
It won't hold together, in other words.
no, it's not going to hold together and you're going to have a crunchy,
Not crunchy. I'm just talking about more like a fresh banana slice.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like that, would it?
Yeah, but it's going to be very soggy.
Okay.
Yeah, very
got it.
soggy. It's not going to have the consistency of a banana. There's some things freeze dried only benefit themselves being.
Oh, here's a good question. And
Yeah.
Renee is here also. Hi, Anita. Hi, Renee. Anita says, have you made bee propolis tincture before?
Yes.
Of course she has.
Yes. I
You
find
haven't. You've been
yeah.
holding out on me. I didn't know that. What
Well,
have
it's not
you
cheap.
got
It's
it?
like $30 an ounce or something like that for they get
Ooh.
it. So you find a local beekeeper, and more than likely they sell their propolis. You can do almost anything. And I have that. I mean, it's still probably in my cupboard. I probably couldn't find it fast enough to show you. But yeah, it's not in a half a gallon. It's in a little pint or quart jar because I'm just going to make enough for, myself.
In general, because we're not doctors.
Yeah, we're
You have
not
to do
doctors.
your own research.
That's right.
What is it good for?
Oh,
The tincture.
without me Googling it myself or searching myself, I know. I said search. I'm
It's okay.
learning to say search
I'm
now.
I'm trying to train her.
To say
I mean,
search.
just think about it. Okay.
Yeah.
There are other search engines. I
Yes.
know
If
we're
you
on this particular one right
If
now.
you look it up,
But
if you do
just
your own searching,
don't say Q-tip. I grew up. A swab was a Q-tip.
Yeah.
Because there was only Q-tips. That was
Yeah.
it. When I grew
That's
up,
why they're called
that's
Q-tips
how-
to this day.
Q-tips and Kleenex was just Kleenex.
Yeah.
That was
Well, I call it
we
a
didn't have
it's
other
funny, I call it
tissues.
tissue.
We
I don't
didn't.
ever
We never
tell 'em.
had. Can I have a Kleenex? We
Yeah.
never had other brands.
Yeah.
And so
Well, that's how they
the brands
retain ownership.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
No, in their way, that's how they retain their notoriety, is kicking you into getting a name. Now
my
I got a
daughter-in-law
message.
works for Google, and
Yeah.
she told me in the beginning when I met her that that's how Google makes most of its money. The majority of its money is through search. And so, anyway,
Oh,
let's just use the generic term search.
search. Yeah. That's the first time I messed up in a while because she's given me the.
Okay,
the
we have a
eye.
question here. Let's see. Angie says she would fight for those bananas. But are you freeze drying them or are you dehydrating? Because
They go chips. Yeah.
Yeah, she's mostly dehydrated.
Well, so this goes to show you how having your community look out for you. I must have. Well, you know what a case of bananas looks like from the supermarket before they put them out on the thing. You know how they lift up that banana box and there's 40 or let's see, there's maybe 12 bunches of bananas in a box. People bring me. You want more? People bring me.
No.
Oh.
I wanted to ask you something. Go ahead.
They bring me those bananas. They bring them to me to freeze dry. And so someone brought me 2 cases. So just imagine my machines were going nonstop for 2 days.
I think
sliced. Yeah, it's still.
I
going
can
down.
hear the machines in my bedroom.
Yeah, they did. That's
all
because
night
it's
long.
a CBH home. It's not enough insulation.
Oh well, but your top number of blood pressure should be 162.
I'm 190 over something. I'm like high, always.
Okay.
But again,
Then they started lowering it, possibly to be. Yeah,
he said,
possibly
how
to
old did
sell
he say mine should be?
162.
162. Okay, good. to
And
know,
they
good to
started
know.
lowering it possibly to sell more medication. Well,
Oh,
that
yeah.
of course.
Well, everything they do.
And then Anita is asking vodka or Everclear for the base.
Everclear is going to be really, really strong. I would save your Everclear for something that you want to maybe do a double infusion, which means you do an infusion with your plant matter, you strain out the plant matter, then add fresh plant matter into it. That's what I would use the higher volume one is. Why spend that much when you can just go in and get regular vodka, even the vodka on sale? You're not going to like the taste of it anyways. I'm sorry. You are not going to like the taste of it. Now, nor the.
I've never had vodka.
Oh, I don't.
but-
Well, I'm saying in the tincture,
No, I know.
I don't drink. I have 72 bottles this size sitting in my closet around the corner here.
So how much does this cost from The Kirkland is Costco, right?
Yeah, it's like 13 something. Yeah.
That's a heavy bottle.
Yeah.
That's got to be more than a liter.
Yeah, I'm not
Let's
100%
see.
sure. Well, put it this way.
Well, I'm going to look
It's
it
half
up.
a gallon when it goes into my jar, but then
It's
that's plant matter.
distilled from corn.
I know. I can't help that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Vodka's distilled from corn. Is
That
it,
and
is it,
potatoes too.
is the corn GMO?
I have no idea. I can't worry about everything for me.
Okay.
Because the vodka to get that would be what you're talking about would probably be non-beneficial for me to even try to make. But that's the thing. I use Kirkland because I can get
Oh,
a very
this is 1.75 liters. So that's why
Yeah.
it's so heavy.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
But that's the route I've chosen to do. If you're doing it for yourself personally and you're not doing it for, everybody who wants to barter, a batch of sourdough or something with you, then
Okay. I
choose
got
to
a
do better.
couple of things here. Let's see. Make sure you drink plenty of water. Hi, Kristen says, make sure you drink plenty of water, and exercise can help lower blood pressure. No money.
I'll drink the water, but the exercise is probably out the window for me.
You run around like a
Well,
chicken with its head cut off, as we used to say. Let's see. Anita says, have you taken it? See, I don't know.
What's it?
I don't know. Have you taken it with honey and bee bread? It's amazing. Have you taken what?
I don't know.
I don't know. Just ask in complete sentences because we're jumping around so much. So I don't know.
If you can repeat your comment with the whole question, maybe we can see it again.
Freeze drying them. Okay, so Angie is freeze drying the banana chips.
I know, isn't that great?
Pieces. Kristen, is so expensive for one of those machines. And I don't have space for it.
It could go in her garage.
No.
I will convince her.
No.
I'll convince her to get one for free from Harvest Right.
If they would give me one, I would take it.
You got to reach out.
I would
you got enough followers.
Taken it. Well, let's see, how many people do we have? Hey, we have 77 people, but only 63 of these. I can't get anywhere if everybody doesn't the thumbs up. I am trying to build back up from scratch now after having such a what do you say, weak presence during the fall. Yeah. So let's see. Randy uses potato vodka.
Yeah.
Are they GMO growing potatoes now? You would know. You live in Idaho.
Yeah, but I don't know the history of all the farmers. We're actually a seed state. Most of our growing of plant matters is for seeds. There's people that have acres and acres and acres and acres of beautiful echinacea plants, the flowers and everything else. And I'm like, gee, just to jump over that little water, canal and grab a handful and run, which is illegal. I wouldn't do it, but or ask the farmer why he's out there. No, they let it dry because they're doing it for seeds.
Wow.
All the echinacea seeds, they get acres and acres and acres.
And Karen says she's read that freeze drying retains more nutrition than dehydrating.
They do. 98% over the 89 for dehydrating.
And Angie gave the grandson their freeze dryer so his mom and dad could make him the bananas.
Oh, I know. Yeah. That and strawberries are my two favorite of my one granddaughter. She just
Anita said she sampled it again when I'm not sure what it is with Everclear and liked it. The sample was a clear tincture, so had it been strained. What plant are we talking about for the tincture? I don't know.
I think she said something about. Oh, maybe she's doing the populus.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe she's still talking populus. I don't know who was originally done it. If she's talking the populus, I would, if I going to spend that much money, I would do the best because I'm not going to sell that.
So the propolis is expensive. The Everclear is expensive. Yeah. So you would use that.
You're going to get your better, because it can pull out more. That's a hard rock type substance. So.
Karen is mentioning there are a handful of organic vodka brands.
Correct.
Didn't know that. Okay.
And the difference is in cost per value.
Okay.
And mine, if I was doing just family, it might be a different story, but I don't drink vodka as a general rule. So it really supposed to have no taste, but I have a friend, I make her try tinctures and she says, I'll never take this. I can't stand the taste. And I go, well, spoonful of sugar is for a reason.
Okay. Linda Duffy is asking about, and we're not doctors. You've got to do your own research. Yeah. But have you heard anything about healing the liver? Any ideas?
Um,
Well, I would first of all say that healing the liver wouldn't flushes be a good idea, because
um,
flushes you use coffee and
well, a detox is always very,
yeah,
very good. So if you can get yourself off all your sugars and things like that, that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard professionals say. But all you do would search it, and don't just take the first that pops up. That's usually an advertisement, but search it and find out. Coco thinks someone is. Did a leaf blow, Coco? You're
it was a
upset.
bird. Yeah,
Yeah.
I went. Yeah,
So you just have to do your own searching and look. There's lots of things. I mean, believe it or not, cilantro is a detox and will take out heavy metals. Now, I'm not a doctor, but heavy metals.
yeah.
And I make I get cilantro when I get it fresh. I will make it. If I don't, I bought powders, and I make it with the powder.
When you word your search, Celinda, just say herbal remedies for, or medicinal plant remedies for fatty liver. You
Yeah.
know, do your search like that, because if you just say, you know, how to help with fatty liver, you're going to get all the PubMed and all the medical stuff is going to be, especially if you're searching on this platform.
Yeah.
I search everything on a different platform.
Yeah. Now,
So-
the other thing too is you have to remember you do not have to make a tincture with alcohol. So anybody who might think they can't take any alcohol into their system for
Yeah.
prior things that they've done in their past, you can do it with now I got figured out the name. What's the
Glycerin.
glycerin? You can make it with glycerin. It doesn't last as long, but a lot of people will do that for children and everything else. So you can infuse it with a glycerin, vegetable glycerin, and it'll make the same thing. You can do the same thing. I've never used, I own some vegetable glycerin, but I've never researched it or used it or try it on anything because I don't have anybody that cares. But if they did, I could do that.
Jules in Maryland is following, but you haven't left a comment unless you're under a different name. Leave a comment. She said that we are making her laugh.
Oh,
So I'm glad we all
We
need
need to,
we
yeah.
all need a laugh. I'm telling you, I really need a laugh. Let's see. Oh, Hetty says she wishes she could do 2 thumbs up. We've got 81
I
people
know.
watching. We've got 71 likes. If the 10 of you who haven't done that, maybe you're on a television. It's hard to do it if you're on a television, but I bet you've got got a cell phone. How do you do it? Tell them how to do it.
Oh,
if
you
you're
just
on a cell.
You just go down to the line that's for the feed, and it'll have the likes and stuff on the bottom screen.
On the TV with your remote?
With your remote, yeah, just like you're gonna
Okay.
look for the channel and all the different things or see what the name is, and it's on the bottom.
One more did it. Thank you. And now we need 9 more. No, now we need 12 more. We have 3 or 4 more people joining. Thank you so much. I'm
Yeah.
Kaye. If you're new here, I am talking to Teresa Harris, who is all things gung-ho, Miss Prepper food preservation. We've been talking about tinctures and freeze drying and making your own soap out of beef tallow, and not only soap, but face cream.
Yeah.
And balms and salves, and freeze drying livers for dog food, and
dog treats, yeah,
and sourdough, and freeze drying sourdough starter, and all kinds of things. So if you're just tuning in, I hope you'll go back and watch the whole thing.
We were supposed to talk about
then
black
you'll
garlic.
Understand. Yes, we haven't talked about black garlic. We got to do that. So how many people, show of hands, out of the 80 people, I lost 4 people. I lost 4 people just in that talking.
Yeah.
I should just let you talk, because I started talking and I lost 4 people. Now, I see. Maybe people had to go off
to like.
Yes, that's what it is. Thank you. Thank you for going off and coming back. Appreciate it. The one other thing, as I had never seen this before, but on my trip across the country, when I left California forever, I went through Santa Fe. I had a 2-night stopover in Santa Fe. It took me a month, by the way. And all those videos, I knew I couldn't edit because I was traveling, and I had my senior cat, who's now in kitty heaven. But I had my senior cat and 25 plants in the back seat and all my bug out bag and all that kind of stuff in my trunk in my Prius. I took a month to go across the country. I was in Phoenix for a week, and then I went to Santa Fe, where my friend has a house, and stayed 2 nights. And then I went to Lubbock for a week, where she lives. And then I went to her condo for 1 night in Dallas. And then I stayed for 1 night in Memphis at my friend's house. And so stop talking.
You're losing your clientele.
They're all quitting. Okay. Anyway, I had a long trip across the country. And where was I going with that? Anyway.
Oh, black garlic.
Black garlic. When I was in Santa Fe, they have a huge farmer's market. If you're ever around there, look it up because it's indoor and outdoor, huge, cavernous kind of building. And this one person was selling black garlic, and I go, "What's black garlic? I mean, you grow it like that?" I didn't even remember if they explained it to me so that I understood it. I came home and I put this little jar on my shelf, and I forgot about it. And I saw it about 3 years later, and I threw it away because I figured, how could it still be good? So why don't you tell them what black garlic is, how you make it, and what it's good for?
Well, interesting enough, I just remember seeing it, like Kaye may have, in a farmer's market or a grocery store. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so expensive. How could anybody afford that? It must be worth something. So I came back and looked it up. And so I researched, and there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can do it in a crock pot where you wrap the garlic in aluminum and you keep it on warm, and you keep having to watch the machine to keep it on warm. I'm sure there's probably a scientific temperature, but you keep it on warm for like 12 weeks or something like that. And at the end of it, or six weeks. And then at the end of it, you have this bulbs of this black garlic. And basically the garlic is somewhat kind of, I don't want to use the word fermenting because that's used so much, but it's kind of turning from a garlic clove, and the slow cooking does something to the clove, and the clove turns black. And then it's kind of like a gummy bear consistency.
Mushy.
It's mushy. You can spread it on bread and everything else, but there's some benefit to it. And I probably have to search.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
They can
So
do that.
just search it.
Do you still have one over there? Or did you squeeze them all?
I put them all in my freeze dryer.
That whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Because the barter group.
She had a whole jar. Yes, a half a gallon jar of whole bulbs
that I had run through a machine. So I'm one that's not going to wait 12 weeks. I found a machine that's kind of, designed just for black garlic, and I purchased it, brought it home, and put all my some cloves in it. And it was a hit at the barter group. So I just continued to make this black garlic. Now you're supposed to eat like maybe one a day, whatever. Like I said, research for yourself. But one of the things I've done is let's see if I can get this up here, is I make it in a seasoning. I'm covering the price. Okay.
Oh,
that's okay. I don't care if they see the price. I just didn't want it to, So what I do is when I get the cloves, and I'm done basically, because I have so many from the machine or the appliance, I then take it and I will freeze dry some of it. And when it's freeze dried, I then put it into a powder form and add to sea salt and blend it together. And this is what I, end up with, is this powder that is black garlic and sea salt. And it tastes amazing. And you could put it on, season anything. I season some focaccia. What is it called? Focaccia. What's the bread that I make?
Focaccia.
Focaccia. That is another thing you can make with overproofed sourdough. And I sprinkled that on top. And my husband was like, "This is the best one you ever made." And I'm like, "Oh, I just did my black garlic salt over it. I didn't add anything else to it."
Okay. I was just going to say, Sulinda. Yeah, Sulinda had been asking about the fatty liver.
Yeah.
And there's so many, if anybody else is suffering from that, there's so many suggestions: milk thistle, burdock root, dandelion root, lemon and cilantro, milk thistle. Wow. Lots of great stuff there. And then Karen's asking, can you do, and I'm not sure what this verb do means. Can you do apple cider vinegar in a tincture? I don't know what
you can.
What does that mean, though?
She's as the base instead of alcohol.
Oh,
okay.
As the base,
instead of the glycerin and everything,
you
can.
So she means, can you use apple cider vinegar as opposed to vodka or Everclear?
Yes, you can. Now, you have to remember that whatever you're using is there to pull out the value from the plant matter. So You can. It may not be as strong as a vodka one, and it may not be strong as an Everclear one, because the higher the, content can be is where it's at. I just choose to do this because I make quite a bit. A half a gallon would last someone years.
Dr. Patrick Jones, just released his book on detoxes. Dolores just ordered
Oh,
one.
gotcha. Okay.
So we might want to get one of those.
Yeah.
And Renee is saying she eats mostly organic and does
Yeah.
not have to take any meds, which is fantastic. Let's see, AC, yes. So Gina said that. She confirmed that. ACV. And then, okay, Anita received a couple of containers of chicken livers. If for human consumption, what are some good recipes? If for a dog or cat, same question. Would it be good recipe to use?
Well, for me, because I received so many, I chose to keep them in their raw form and then freeze dry them so that the dogs could have them, because that lasts for a very long time.
More nutritious too.
And the nutritional value stays there. You can, and people do, because they don't sell those tubs for, not for the use for humans. It's for the use. It's for you to cook them up and simmer them and add them to different things. If I were to do it for human consumption myself, I would probably want to steam the liver so that you're not having a raw version. And then I would then dry it out, either freeze dried or dehydrated, whatever option you have. And then I would blend it up into a powder and then put it in a capsule, because they make these capsule machines that you can make your own capsules and stuff. So that's the way I would do for humans. That's what I would do for humans. If you were going to
That's
steam
just
it,
what she would do. Do your own research. We're not a doctor.
Yeah, we're not doctors. We got to say this 100 million times.
Yeah.
If you were going to cook it for like a cat or a dog, you have to remember sometimes they all need organs. Raw is the best form to give a dog or a cat an organ. Because especially if you're feeding them a raw diet, or if you're feeding them, not the processed stuff that they have out there for animals. So that's my personal preference. Is I had 19 of those. How am I going to save 19 in my freezer when I want to put other things in there? So freeze drying was my quickest way to preserve it. And I literally have 4 bags in Mylar bags and still a freeze dryer full.
Kristen just, she says, do you have bees? I guess she's talking about you.
I used to have bees, and I want to have bees when I get to my new property, because in California, you didn't have to worry too much about winterizing them. Out here, you would definitely have to know about winterizing. So all my research and knowledge that I had done for the bees in California was based on that temperature.
Climate, yeah.
Okay.
So she has been pushing me, and other people have suggested it too, for me to get bees put on my place, which I would love to do. And I'd love to do it before spring, because this whole side of my area over there just erupts in this wildflower called Miami mist. It's also called blue mist, I think. And it's just beautiful. I actually don't know if the bees would love that or not, but I need to contact when I get back.
And if you have land and you don't have bees, if you contact a local non-commercial, meaning someone who does it as, a smaller scale than the big ones that truck them off to all these farms and things like that, they will usually put bees on your property for you. And then they will come and harvest and take care of them and everything else. And they will bless you with some of the honey. So make sure your contract or your agreement says that you can have. I had a friend, she was given so much honey all the time from what they had on her property.
Okay, let's talk about propane for a minute. First of all, Hetty's in England, and everybody say hi to Hetty. She's one of my most diehard fans. She's walking from room to room, tidying up, but she's carrying her thing around. So she doesn't like listening without seeing the faces.
Yeah.
So anyway, Jody is saying 100 pounds of propane wouldn't heat your house through the winter. Well, we know that. But what would you expect to be able to do with 100 pounds of propane? You could cook.
I would use it sporadically to run my generator to, because you can run something for, an hour and then it'll stay for so much time. Obviously, if it's the winter months, I probably wouldn't have to run it that much. But it would be to turn the generator on in hopes of getting the freezer time to can everything in your freezer or to use it to can the stuff that's in your freezer that's defrosting. It's an emergency backup
Yeah.
system. But I have a stove, a wood burning stove in my house that I installed in a community, regular house that nobody would turn around and put a stove in the middle of their living room or their kitchen.
Yeah, she's got a stovepipe going straight up.
Yeah. Which I will take that with me when I move to my new house.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll patch it all up and because it's just freestanding. And I have 2 quarts of wood to burn that.
I want to say bye to Ruse Mountain Home. She's already gone because I'm behind on questions, but she'll see this later. And I just want to say thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. 74 people still here, 73. And Kat is here. Hi, Kaye. If you tuned in late, everybody, please go back and watch this. We covered so much ground. And any one of these things you might find that you would be interested in doing. And let's see. But isn't aluminum bad for you? I don't know where that. What
am I worried about aluminum?
I don't know who said something that sparked that. Aluminum is terrible. It goes through the blood-brain barrier, and we don't want to cook with aluminum.
Oh, I don't cook with aluminum.
And
mine's all
stainless
steel or cast iron.
And so Denise, or Daryl says avoid aluminum. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And aluminum is in all kinds of injections. So got to be careful about that. Black garlic is good with cream cheese.
Oh, yeah.
I think it would be good with anything.
Oh, yeah. It was really good.
Oh, if you like garlic. Moringa for life.
Yes, Moringa for life.
Search the nutrition facts. And we didn't talk about Moringa today, but I have a video on Moringa. I grew it successfully this past year for the first time in Tennessee. And I did cover David the Good had a video on how to try to keep those going in less than a zone 9. I don't know if I'll be successful, but I did cover, you take it down to about that tall and you cover them, and then we'll see. I'm not holding my breath that it's going to come back, but you can get them to sprout.
Yeah. Well, and the nice thing about, even if you have it and every year you have to grow, it grows relatively fast, even when it's warm. Mm-hmm. And you can harvest that moringa and then freeze dry it or dehydrate, whatever you need to do. But yes.
The one whom Jesus loves is saying Dr. Patrick Jones and Dr. Andrew Jones. I'm not sure.
I don't know who Andrew is.
I don't either. Both are veterinarians as well. They started out as veterinarians, and so did Dr. Joel Wallach, who I was talking about in one of my recent, I haven't had a lot of recent videos, but the last video I did, what was the title of that? I did talk about him and how he started out as a veterinarian. And so they know so much more because he was saying that they actually solved all of these health problems for animals a long time ago.
Yeah.
And solved by putting the nutrients in the minerals. And so they don't get disease. But, a doctor will tell you, oh, if you just take a multivitamin, you're fine.
Oh,
It's just like, no, there are 90 essential nutrients. I'm just learning about this. I got all of my product that I mentioned in that video. We have the 90 essential nutrients is available in a kit. There's powder and capsules and liquid that come in this kit. And you can find it at bardsnationhealth.com. And I haven't started taking it because so much has happened in the last month, but I'm going to get on that when I get home because I don't want to miss out. If there's one thing like selenium is so important for so many things, like if the birth mother while she's pregnant does not have enough selenium in her system, I shouldn't say this because,
probably not.
No, but go back to that video. I put his lecture in a link underneath that, and you can hear the experts say that. Okay, Karen makes her own dog food.
Yep.
Her husband thinks she's nuts.
No,
she just canned lamb bone broth for her dog.
Ooh.
Your dog has got it made. Let's see. Okay. Organic chicken, organic apples,
Mhm.
sweet potatoes, quinoa, and lamb
Yep.
broth. My gosh, your dogs are. And then, hey Ginger, welcome. I don't know if I've seen your name before. I kept bees in Washington State for almost 2 years. I hate the hobby. Okay.
Oh, I loved the
And have
hobby.
since stopped. I mean,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
it takes a certain kind of person to
Yeah.
really get it like that. My
Well,
my nephew does it.
yeah,
He has a whole business.
and I was one of those I got the flow hive, so mine was very easy. I did transition from the flow hive, which is like almost a turnkey hive, to a regular hive, so I did learn, but the inspections and the getting the gear on and all that's troublesome. So have someone just put beehives on your land and
Yeah.
let them do the work.
The
And
one
you
whom
just
Jesus loves says, "Great holistic vets, homegrown herbalist channel."
homegrown herbalist
Is
is
that Dr. Jones?
Dr. Jones. I
Dr.
love
Jones.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And veterinary secrets channel. Is that a
I
separate
don't know
channel?
who that's got to be
Okay.
separate. Yeah,
Okay.
unless he has two.
Gina's suggesting to contact the county extension. They might know about beekeepers, you know. Faithful Flowers, daughters getting bees.
Yeah.
And
I loved my bees. I had them for for 3 years while I was up in Ramona.
Thank you, Marley One. She gets some of Dolores' neighbor has that arrangement with a beekeeper.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Marie. That's Huntington Township Watch. I really appreciate your support. You've been very supportive these last few months, and I really appreciate it. Oh, I see. Here we go with aluminum. You said you wrapped garlic in aluminum.
Oh, no, that was what you could do that people show on all their sites. I don't mine's a machine and I don't put mine in aluminum.
I'm sorry if that was not clear.
Yeah, that's what people say you can do when you search. You're going to find everybody giving you everything from wrapping it and putting it in a crock pot to a rice warmer. You know, all of them aren't on the same path that everybody might be on that we're on. Mine's in a machine without any of that.
Thank you, Kristen, for pointing
Yeah,
that out.
thank you. I
So we
appreciate that.
clarified that point, and it's important. Let's see. Because we just get so much
Yeah.
going. We don't even remember what two people said ago. So let's see. Thank you for that link. Gina has posted the link for Bard's Nation Health. If you would just like to see what they have to offer, I am not an affiliate. I don't make any commission. I just want to spread the word that there is a man in charge of the company, and he will have a half an hour free conversation with you about the products and about your own particular health challenges, and you can get a better idea rather than just going to a website and going, oh well, what do I really need? Okay, I'll try that.
Yeah.
I'll try that. You know, you can actually get tailored advice from the man. You know, there's a way to write for information when you go there. So I would check that out, bardsnationhealth.com. And Marianne Giovanna, happy holidays. Thank you so much. We really appreciate
that name.
Renee cooks for her dog. Yes, of course you do. Brooklyn. Is Brooklyn watching? I just want to know, is Brooklyn watching? Anyway, I'm going to be seeing Renee very soon. If I get home all in one piece, I'm going to turn right around and go see Renee, and you'll get to see Brooklyn. Renee is a great cook, and I'm really looking forward to having Christmas with friends.
Oh, that's why she's leaving. She doesn't want to have my cooking.
What? You don't have time to cook.
Well, my husband does a little bit of cooking, but we're going to daughters. She doesn't have time to cook. My daughter will be cooking.
That's in Brazil. I love chocolate-covered Brazil. Yeah. Hetty says she loves chocolate-covered Brazil nuts. Oh, my gosh. Wow. Doesn't it sound good?
Yeah.
The one whom Jesus loves makes all their dog food with good organic veggies and fruit and fresh chicken. Yeah. The thing is, cats don't like vegetables. So I fed Lyndon, which is, I'm convinced, why she lived to be almost 20. And I fed her only raw food for the first 15, until I moved, till I left California. It was, I had a wonderful co-op store, and I could go and there was a very small producer of this food.
Yeah.
And they did rabbit, chicken, beef. What's the other one? Not pork. Lamb.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, Yeah, I really miss that. But anyway, she started eating just the canned food. It's the best one I could find.
Yeah.
And, well, she's gone now. So,
Yeah.
and my boy, who's 3 years old, Spot, he's still at the vet. I had to leave him there because he needed antibiotic every day.
Yeah.
And I couldn't ask my neighbor to try to stuff a pill down his throat. So I'll get him back on Monday and we'll all be reunited.
Our dogs get the canned chicken legs and thighs, and then we add freeze-dried yogurt and then freeze-dried liver on top of that.
Angie, they had 4 flow hives. I've seen about flow hives just briefly.
Who has 4 flow hives?
They did have, Angie.
I know. Was those the best hives?
She said they did great until they didn't.
Oh, mine never had a problem with mine, but I didn't have them for maybe as long. Yeah, I love the flow hive. I had the first edition flow hive, like the start kickstart one.
Let's see. Sorry, Gina, can you look up the last video where I've got on a blue t-shirt and I'm sitting at the table talking, and I think that cranberry hibiscus plant is on the table there. And just grab the link for that video. I know we are at.
I'm just. I have to sign in with a.
Were you looking for it?
No,
okay.
I have to sign in with a.
And just post
special
that
password.
Christian, I can't remember what I actually repeated that Dr. Joel Wallach said about selenium. I remember hearing it. I don't remember what all I said. Everything, when I do videos like that, I just talk right out of my head. There's no script or anything. Unlike the old days when my videos were perfect.
Your videos are still pretty good.
No, they're not, but whatever. But anyway, I absolutely recommend listening to Dr. Joel Wallach's, and you could also do a search and find his speeches, because my podcaster had taken a whole speech of his and put it in his podcast. Twice he did that. And so he was talking about selenium, and I want to say it was Down syndrome, but that's unless
it seems like that was one of the things we
if
ended
selenium
up in the
is
dogs.
missing, you can wind up with Down syndrome, and that's, just think about that. If that was the case, oh my goodness. So Devonese says she's got mushrooms going in the yard, but clueless. Are they bad for us, our chickens and turkeys? Are mushrooms good for anything health-wise? Oh my gosh, Devonese.
But
the ones that you can probably get in your backyard are not.
Yeah. Totally 100% join a Facebook group on foraging mushrooms. They will identify a mushroom for you. Now they'll get a little snippy and say, well, you touched it. You're supposed to wait till it's identified. Just ignore those
Well,
people.
don't touch it.
Yeah. But just what I'm saying, just, you can take a picture. They want to see the underside of the mushroom and everything else. And that helps with identification. But again, you can get mushrooms that are grown by mushroom, farms and everything else. We had a wonderful mushroom farm here in our barter group. And every time I bartered with her, I would get a case of lion's mane, and I would freeze dry the lion's mane. And just to show you, I'll grab one.
Are you tincturing that? You're not eating it straight?
I got mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mushrooms are incredible for immune support. And there's a wonderful company called fungi.com. And
that is freeze-dried lion's mane.
Wow.
I have 6 of these.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. That's because
like 6 lifetimes.
Well, because I've got a capsule machine, and I just have to sit and put them in capsules and get them to my husband, and maybe send some to Kaye. Maybe we'll do some for Kaye to take home with her.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, because I got 6 of these.
I've got a bunch.
These are half gallons.
I bought, as part of my preps, I bought from fungi.com. I bought the complete mushroom combination. Immune support, which I haven't taken. They're up there in my cabinet. But chaga, man, if you could get your hands on chaga, you're not going to find it
in the wild.
Where are you? This is no, not in Ohio. You're not going to find chaga in Ohio. But chaga is so good for you. So I would just do a little research on that. look at fungi.com. Look at the products that they offer and the various mushrooms. Now, if you could find morels, and morels do grow in Tennessee, I don't know where else they grow.
They grow in Idaho in the mountains.
Yeah, okay.
I have a whole freeze-dried batch of them.
What? Get out.
Want me to show you?
Okay. I'm jealous. Daryl took me morel hunting when I first came to Tennessee, and I have a video on that. Gina, if you want to try to find that, I don't know if you can, but anyway, it's in the Bamboo Oasis playlist. I have a whole playlist with Daryl and his garden and the things we've done. So, but we went morel hunting, and I had never been hunting for morels or any kind of mushrooms before, and I found one. And we came back, and he cut it up and sauteed it in butter, and it was it was almost to die for. It was so amazing. Oh my gosh, Betty Freckles is here. Your ears must have been burning. Betty, we have been on for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I really I hope you will go back and listen. But Betty, she's up in northern Canada, and she sent me big chunks of chaga that her sister foraged for up there. And I still have some, so I need to get that out. And
I couldn't find it fast enough.
yes, Wallach is, let's see, Kristen, it's Dr. Joel, W-A-L-L. Oh, good grief. I hit the wrong button. I'm sorry, Dr. Joel. My dumb finger. A-L-L-A-C-H-S. I think that's how you spell his last name. And he was a veterinarian to start with. And then I think he did 3,000 to 5,000 autopsies of animals to try to determine why they died. And he was saying that, and he made this speech in 2001 or something, because he was talking about Bush Jr. being in office. So I think that was the time period. So it would be really interesting. I think he's still alive. He's in his 80s, but it'd be really interesting to hear what he has to say today after the last 5 years we've been through. But there you go. She's got you a link. That link is mine for Daryl's thing. Thank you so much. And morels grow in the woods, and they grow
like where burned. If it's
birch
burned,
trees, right?
No, well, birch, but if it's burned, like if there's been a fire, they grow better in the fire area the next year. People go up and get gallons and gallons of them.
What if you put down spores?
You can.
Is that what it is? You put down spores?
I saved a birch log, and I'm hoping to get some spores from my friend who now has the mushroom.
What are you going to grow on the birch log?
I'm going to get some
morels,
some mushroom spores. I don't know which ones.
Oh, okay.
Just in general, because he does the blocks, to where you can grow the blocks.
Oh yes, yes, yeah. Renee, I forgot to connect you. I'm so glad you connected. Devonese and Renee and I were at the revival in October. Yeah. When I thought my mother was going to pass any minute. Let's see. Okay, there are some mushrooms you even have to be careful what tree they were on. Okay, if one tree dangerous, if another tree, mushrooms are fantastic. Okay. And then we have, that's what I was saying. You can get your mushrooms, you can get spore, you can get supplements from.
You can also,
it's fungi perfecti, but their URL is fungi.com. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And a lot of people too, if you want your basics, I mean, if you aren't picking them up, you can get your oyster, your lion's mane. There's other kinds of lion's mane I didn't know. And so what I do with the lion's mane, like I said, because I was able to barter with that woman with just things that I was making already and had an abundance of. I mean, we bartered like crazy. I must have, well, you can tell I came home with tons of mushrooms to be able to do, I have 6 half-gallon containers full of lion's mane, and I also tincture it. because I want, to be able to start taking it in capsule form. Some people will put it in their coffee or their cocoa. I'm not a big coffee drinker myself, but some people will put the lion's mane in their coffee as part of their, morning routine and everything else. So my goal is to capsulize them or put them in the capsules with the capsule machine, which does 100 at a time. I think capsules at a time.
What?
I got the machine. It's right over there. You want me to grab it?
Yeah. I was just trying to imagine. I have some capsules. I was just trying to imagine putting my little bit of Moringa powder, which is just this much. I'm going, how do you get it in that little courser's machine, right? What did people do before? I find that taking the Moringa powder, because I bought it in a bulk thing, and I was trying to take it every morning, just this one little, I think it's like a half a teaspoon, the scoop that comes with it. But it doesn't disperse. It doesn't dissolve in my water. And you're just kind of drinking this plant material, and it's, doesn't taste that great. But I know it's good for you.
So the way the machine works, I can't probably demonstrate it all,
Oh,
but
okay.
the way that, you
Oh,
can
it's
show
just a
them.
little thing like this. Okay.
Yeah, but it's,
Oh,
and
it's
then
got
it
a
makes
whole thing.
capsules.
Well,
So
you
it
buy the
fills-
capsule.
Yeah, you put the capsules in the machine.
Do you have to sit here and just feed one and one and one?
No,
and
it's
one?
all it's all it shakes it all in. It's
Oh
all
my goodness.
it's all,
It's electric.
No, it's not electric. You
shake it.
shake it and the capsules go in.
Okay, got it.
And then you put your powder in, and there's a place to take the powder out.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah.
And then you push it down with the tops, and the next thing you know, you have capsules.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a big deal.
Yeah. Well,
they have chaga in northern Wisconsin, of course. Yeah, where it's colder. And Kristen says, and also in Maine. Deadly Wound says it's in Maine. And of course, we know it's in Canada. And I looked into buying from Azure Standard. And the thing is, you have to be there when the truck comes. You cannot not be there when the truck comes. The truck comes just like it did at the pantry, drops off the stuff. And if you're not there, you got trouble. So that was my concern, the reason I hadn't started doing it yet. I want to. Did they recover from that horrible fire? I guess they did. It was just their administrative building, their office building, right? It burned.
Even though they do have pickups around this area, you have to look for the pickup when you order for them. I haven't ordered from them.
Oh, Angie said she's growing wine caps and blue oysters.
Ooh.
And they do I know they give plenty of notice. And I just think, well, okay, it's just me. And so if I can't get there for whatever reason, plus, in the last 6 to 9 months, I just haven't gone anywhere because of my mother. So anyway, everything's going to change in the new year. So, okay. The puppies are stealing the show. Oh, they're sacked out now. They're like,
come here, Snickers. Come here, boy.
That's okay.
Come here.
Oh yeah. So Karen says she's going to have to take off work the first week of January when it comes. Ooh. Yeah, that's going to be tough.
Let's go.
Everybody, it's been awesome. We have 69 people here. We got 92 likes. If anybody failed to hit that like button, please do so on your way out. Oh, wow. Azure delivers to your home. I did not know that.
I think it costs a little bit to deliver to your home. Yeah. And it probably comes through an Amazon or I mean, I doubt the truck just stops by single homes. It's got to be over a certain amount, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I'm assuming, I think that it's a 18-wheeler, isn't it?
Well, when it comes to drop off for everybody else, there's lots of people who will talk about meeting at a certain spot.
Right. So in other words, if you wanted to get it to your house, you would have to pay a third party to take it.
I'm assuming they go through a third party. If you go to the site and you want to order one thing, it's going to come in the mail, or if it's not something that's fresh, because they do wonderful with organic, foods.
Okay.
And stuff. That's another source for people. That's all organic.
Okay. I did set up a goal. This is the first time I've ever even seen this. I did set up a goal for this live stream, and the goal was 10 super chats. And then if we got them, we didn't get any. But if we got them, then everybody would get like a Q&A.
I think that was
That
supposed to be
was
like a
something like
Q&A. I
that.
don't know. We were seeing some new things on
Yeah, they're
the
changing
options
stuff all
here.
the
I mean,
time. I haven't
yeah,
done it in a long time, so I
yeah,
hadn't seen that. So I did set it up, but we didn't get any. So
yeah.
that's all right.
Well,
We're just glad you're here.
yeah, there's lots of ways to get a hold of. I mean, we all know, with Kaye, but you can follow me over at my YouTube channel. And if you do happen to have TikTok, follow me over there. It seems easier for me on TikTok at this point in time, just because I'm not as established as Kaye is on YouTube. So nobody knows I'm even there. And I try to post in both
They
places.
do now. 70,
Well,
73, 75 people know.
So let me check and see how many people are following me now since my
See how
little
many-
number
see-
yesterday.
See how many people have quick. Go
Kaye
there.
wants to prove a point, so
Yeah,
quick.
at Urban Homesteader 101.
Hold on, I'm giving you some time.
Yeah. See, she's got a minute. She's got to get her glasses on. Hurry.
Get it.
Go ahead and subscribe to her
let's see
channel.
here.
So I've helped her. I want to help her.
Yeah, she wants. Yeah,
You don't
two
make
people. I was at 45. I'm now at 47. Thank you for the two people who graciously followed me.
Linda just subscribed.
Thank you,
Linda. Ta-da-da. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
And the sad part about it is my mom used to sit there and say to me, you missed out on this, you missed out on that. And I didn't want to miss out on another thing. And believe it or not, I even got into the TikTok affiliated program like that.
Anita,
for whatever reason.
Oh, sorry. Anita, can you look at the top pinned comment? It should be right at the top of your chat window. It says Teresa can be, that's what I see. You click on that and those are her channel names for YouTube and TikTok.
And I think if you click on the person, if you're not a moderator and you click on the
Hey,
person,
Derek.
it'll take you to their channel too.
Are you watching? He's asking if we're watching the Homesteader movie.
Oh, I want to. I don't think it's come yet to our location, but we have a really neat place, a movie theater around the corner. But I hope to. There's always mixed reviews, but I'm one that doesn't listen to reviews. I just go and see it.
I've only been in the theater one time since I left California, so that's 5 years.
Yeah.
It's unlikely.
There is so many things that your life changes when the world changes. And when you start to realize what's going on around you.
Post a link for what, Gina? If you're talking about her channel, they're in the pinned comment.
Or you can pin on my face on the chat and it'll take you to my channel too. That's how I follow people. When you say everybody follow them, I hit the photo.
Oh.
And stuff. So it's fine.
Okay.
It's all fine.
Yeah. So Anita,
she's asking if she can post a link. I think is what she's asking permission for.
No, I think we cleared it up. Anyway, Anita says she's sure she'll cross paths sooner or later. LOL.
Oh.
So what are the local groups? Just remind her the local groups that she could find you.
Is it the one who lives in Idaho?
She lives in Nampa.
Yeah. Oh, well, shoot, girl.
Yeah.
Here's my address. No, just kidding.
Yes. Yes. Also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already.
Yeah.
That's first.
Yeah.
Then
me. Yeah. I'm second fiddle here. I'm not here. I'm not the star. I'm in, do the one that you can get to me directly would be Pantry Queen. That's the one with all about the pantries, which I teach people about pantries and how to have food sustainability.
Sustainability.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
This is what I think she's asking for. I think she's asking.
Are you going to give me a link to put down or?
Well, I can put it down. I'm a moderator.
Okay.
That's what I think she's asking for is for a link.
Oh, I see. We're waiting for that. Got it.
That's what I think she's asking for.
Anita, yeah, we did. Teresa came in January of 22. I want to say, no, 23. Sorry. She came in January of 23 and we did several pressure canning videos. She taught me how. So those are great videos for if you're learning pressure canning. And I haven't done it since.
That's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
You watched me do chicken.
I've got those 2 canners though, taking up room right there in my kitchen.
And she has a glass stove. And my thing was, I always knew that I'd get a gas stove. So if I cracked my gas stove, I just made my husband have to get me the gas one sooner, but I did switch to a gas stove. So I have every size All-American you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually I gave my little one to someone. So I have 3 of the bigger ones that you can double stack.
There was somebody earlier that, not only Anita, but somebody else that was in this area. That was way in the beginning. And I said, get in touch with me.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I
Well,
already.
maybe ask if they, if
Is
they're in
it's
Nampa.
Kathleen Turley. She's from Eagle.
Oh, Eagle. Okay.
We should have a thing. We should have a coffee with Kathleen Kathleen and Anita, sorry.
Yeah.
And the 2 of us.
Yeah.
I'm going to be here the rest of today and tomorrow. And some of the time I'm going to see my son and daughter-in-law and grandchild. And then I'm leaving Monday morning, go home.
Yeah.
And my neighbor is taking care of BJ and Patch. Patch is, she's not handling this very well. She's not warming up to my neighbor at all. So I really need to get back there and give Patch some loving, because she was confused about, the first thing they noticed was that Spot was missing. And so it was just the 2 of them kind of walking around going, what's going on, and plus they haven't been outside, and it's just like they're stuck in the garage. And then when I left with Lyndon for the last time, she saw that, and then she was in the house later, and Lyndon wasn't there. And then Spot never, I'm sure they're already thinking Spot's not coming back,
Oh, in their brain. So
Yeah, they've already made that. Cats just, like with Tiger, when Tiger got run over, it was like a couple of weeks and they just seem normal. They just adjust. They go, okay, this is our reality.
Yeah.
This is what we deal with. Cats are good that way.
Scroll down or you won't see the comments because you're way up at the high ones.
No, I know. I was just Kathleen Turley. If you're still on, let's get together. I don't know when I'll be back, honestly. Let's get together. Send me an email. I can't. Dumb thing. It keeps. There we go.
Making you verify yourself.
No, it's never. It's just it's the keypad. Dolores subscribed. Gina subscribed.
Okay, I'll go check again.
Parties. Oh my gosh! I wish we had time for a canning party. Wouldn't that?
Oh, well, that would be fun.
I might, if we got something like that organized, I might come back up here. But it's a long way and it's
59
expensive.
people. Thank you so much. I'm going to go post a video right now.
You are?
No, I could grab one from my whatever one.
She does a lot of quick videos. Do you use software for your quick videos?
Honey, I just whatever the phone does.
Oh,
I am I'm so below mine will be quick. I accidentally left my camera on while I was letting my bread cook one time, and then you have to let it cool. And so then I punched it thinking I was doing the cool part, and I ended up with 2 hours of me just cleaning the kitchen.
Oh dear.
And I tried to cut to get to the part after. Yeah.
I've made every mistake in the book. I tell
so,
you.
I'm not trying to be a Kaye, because nobody could be a Kaye. But, I just love to share. I'm a sharer.
Carolyn French Witham says, Witham. That's so funny.
Yeah, I like that name.
Witham is, I have I haven't heard from her in years, but I saw her in 2016 and she lived in Witham, England.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Witham. Anyway, she said she had morels growing on her property last year in New Hampshire.
Oh, wow.
Found them too late.
Oh, no. I've got seeds.
Who first asked the mushroom question? Now, who was that? Was it Anita? No, it was... I'm
not 100% sure.
Oh, Sandra's asking about Spot. This happened in one afternoon. The morning he was fine. He went out. He came back in because it was raining. They both wanted to come back in. And I was in the garage because I knew I was going to be gone, and I had already taken my car out a couple of days early, so I could just kind of clean up a little bit. And so they had more room to, hang out. And so I was out there in the garage, and I don't usually observe them going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Because they like to do that when I'm not around,
Yeah.
so they can dig in the plants.
Yeah.
Anyway, he kept trying to go to the bathroom, trying and kept going and going. And I'm going, this looks familiar, because I had Rowan. Anybody who, let's see, no, Rowan was gone before I started my channel. But I had this beautiful gray tabby that I named Rowan. Rowan is a tree,
Okay.
by the way, and linden is a tree. And they both have double meanings that I named them that. Linden, my father grew up in a place called Linden. And Rowan, if you knit and you know about Rowan International, they make the best yarn and the best, most complicated patterns. It got to a point where I couldn't really even make it. I would get a whole book and I would be able to find one thing I was able to make. But anyway, that boy, he had the same thing. He had a blockage. And by the time I recognized it and I got him to the emergency hospital, it was too late. And so I knew when I started seeing that with Spot, I knew this is a problem and I've got to get him. I got to get him into the vet, but I didn't recognize it till the night. So I had to just kind of worry all night to make sure he's going to be alive in the morning. Because, if you can't pee, I mean, how long can you go before your bladder bursts or whatever? You get infection. And so I got him in there and his blood work was good and he's going to be okay. But he did have a UTI and she said he needs medication for 7 days. And I was leaving the next day. And so we just decided to leave him there. And so we'll be picking him up. He's going to be fine. Let's see. It's been wonderful chatting with you too, Anita. And I recognize that it's very short notice and people getting ready for Christmas and stuff. So
it is. Yeah.
So if I give it back up here next year, we'll see. Hey, if I start taking those 90 essential nutrients, maybe it'll take 5 years off.
That's right. Hey, that's good.
I mean, Dr. Joel Wallach says we're all designed to live to 100, and only through diet and lack of, nutrient deficiencies do we get sick and die.
Yeah.
So, Christmas Day, our birthday's on Christmas Day.
Oh, well, happy birthday. A little early, but.
Yeah, it happens in the mails. It's crazy. All right, so we're going to sign off. Thank you so much. I'm going to give a big shout out to our Heavenly Father and his precious Son, who makes all things possible. God bless you for tuning in, and I'll try to do this again. And so stay tuned to my channel, and thank you so much. Go back and watch it if you haven't already. Hit the like on your way out, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.